the big talking point everyone's talking about is how every blood in this roster now, almost a pep in the step. It's almost like these guys have come out of a week at a spa or something. They seem to be refreshed, as opposed to the team we saw going into the Georgia game, where so many of them were setting out, and going into the Oklahoma game, where so many of them were still taped up. Here we are now 12 days later after the Oklahoma win, and it almost seems like, I don't want to go all New Testament here, but it almost seems like we've had some miracles happen in the health department here.
Well, it's the healthiest Alabama's probably been. You might have to go back to the Georgia game during the regular season. They've got every major contributor that has played all season long is probably as healthy as they've been in a long time. Jim Miller's had more time to heal up. LT Overton is now back for Alabama. Parker Brailsford has had time to heal up. I think Bernard is as healthy as Bernard is going to be. I think the time off, and if you go listen to the interview I did with Bernard and the interview I did with Kane Womack, both of them talk about how just the mental break and the physical break. And I don't think we talk enough, Jim, about the mental break. Our good friend, Dr. Brett McCabe, a friend of all of ours, is the guy that kind of heads up that portion for Alabama football. And I think he would probably tell you the mental capacity that was required to go through that stretch of football that Alabama went through, that has been so much talked about when they played, at the time, ranked team after ranked team after ranked team after ranked team, to go through, the Iron Bowl, to go through the SEC championship game and the disappointment there, and then have to go on the road in the playoff. That takes a mental toll on you. And just to have that time to kind of refresh, not be in class right now because of Christmas break, so you've got time just to sit and not really worry about all the normal things you worry about. I think that has been super beneficial for Alabama as well.
And Dunaway, I think there's a crossover between the mental and the physical, because when you're that banged up and you go into a game and you're not 100%, and you're hearing it all week, hey, without LT Overton or without Josh Cuevas, what kind of chance does this team really have? Now they're pretty much whole. And they're coming off a game where they played some of their best football, especially in the second half, on the road against an outstanding defense. So I think, mentally where the confidence is probably pretty high right now for this Alabama team.
New York Butcher Shop bringing us part of the show today. Before we get to the trash, I got one more thing after New York Butcher Shop can get you just right on this New Year's Eve.
Hey, if you're like us and, you're getting old, you really don't want to go out on New Year's Eve, go pick up a couple of steaks, delicious bottle of wine, some of the great desserts. You can get it all at one of those two locations in the New York Butcher Shop. Get NC Jim and that fantastic staff of butchers. The original location in Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The freshest meats, the great sides, fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. One-stop dinner shop, rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
CNBC put out the most valuable college athletic programs. Now, this isn't football, but it's athletic programs this past week. I think it was the top 70 they put out, but all the SEC is on the list. Most valuable college athletic program in the United States, according to CNBC, is who, in your opinion? It's one or two, right? You guys know
it's Ohio
State.
Yeah, or Texas would be two, but I think it's Ohio State.
Ohio State is 2, Texas is 1. Top 5, Texas 1, Ohio State 2, A&M 3, Georgia 4, Michigan 5. These are the most valuable programs out there.
How do we determine the value of Texas A&M?
It's the valuation, money available and stuff like that, yeah.
It's just amazing. I mean, that would be, based on accomplishment, that would be the equivalent of saying the Cleveland Browns are the most valuable franchise in the NFL.
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys are.
Yeah, but at least the Cowboys have won 5.
You know what, D? I hate being on this highway with all these 18-wheelers. I don't know what I'd do if I got in an accident with one.
First, call 911 to report the accident, and then hit up the gators of the litigation situation. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney, because accidents with 18-wheelers, delivery truck, and construction vehicles are complicated. Call 1-800-229-7989 or hit them up at Shunnarah.com. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney. We go deeper. We fight harder. We win bigger.
Physical office location, Birmingham. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The portal is open. The portal is open. And for the first time in a long time, boy, Alabama needs to go shopping in the portal for some positions. We'll talk about what the landscape looks like now in college football. Ole Miss and Georgia delivers another great game, but it was domination out in California where the guys are, as Indiana, as they said in the broadcast, handed Alabama a humiliating loss. Herbstreit called it embarrassing. Final score 38-3, Indiana over Alabama. Instant reaction, guys.
It's embarrassing. I mean, they got absolutely whipped, and that's the third time they have gotten dominated this year. And I think people that thought Indiana, the brand, Alabama, Indiana, they didn't understand it. I think they understand it after watching yesterday. That Indiana team is absolutely legitimate. But if you go back to something we talked about a couple of days ago, 56-4 over 5 stars on Alabama's roster, only 8 on Indiana's, and to go out and win the game going away, that's, I don't recall it concerning, because Indiana's the best team in college football right now.
Hey, Brownie, Brownie, I'm gonna let you guys correct the audio real quick. I'm gonna play a couple of sound bites and let you guys work on that a little bit from your location out there as we get going this morning. Cut number, let's go cut 11, Tyler. We'll get the reaction from post game as we correct that audio situation out there. You guys are clear now. Y'all can pop off and work on that, Brownie. Here's Curt Cignetti, cut number 11. This is the thing that's resonating with Alabama fans. This is the soundbite that has blown up on our social media from the platform. It's Curt Cignetti post-game talking about when he was at Alabama and how they used to win football games.
It felt like another kind of one of those games you've had this season where your run game just kind of ground them down as the game wore on, and then you start popping some explosives in the second half. What does it say about the offense and maybe specifically that ground game, the way that it can lean on an opponent as a game wears on and maybe really tire a defense out?
Well, I think that's what you would always love to see as the head coach, things we used to preach when I was at Alabama. About changing the way they think, breaking their will, and that's the best way to do it, running the football. And it takes a while. It doesn't happen in the first quarter, second quarter. It happens in the second half at some point, hopefully, when you're able to achieve that goal. And I thought our line did a nice job. I thought our backs really ran hard. And I'm sure there were some nice blocks downfield too, but the backs, I was really impressed with how hard they ran.
How hard they ran. It was so balanced last night. Or yesterday afternoon for Indiana. 193 passing yards, 170 rushing yards. Mendoza barely let the ball touch the moist turf at the Rose Bowl, 14 of 16 passes. His receivers didn't drop balls. Brownie, it was one of those performances from Indiana that just checked all the boxes. And it's that soundbite right there. It's that one where it says, when I was at Alabama, that's what we used to do. We used to impose we made them quit. They didn't want to play us anymore. It was the famous Nick Saban line in his opening comment. And Cignetti went back to that on the podium in that situation, and that's the one that is just blown up.
Yeah, I mean, that is what Alabama used to be. I can't believe I'm saying this sentence. Even as I say it, it sounds crazy to say that what Alabama now is what Indiana now is what Alabama used to be. And I think that's what frustrates fans is they watch that game and they saw Indiana do what Alabama used to do. And it's Indiana doing it. And now Alabama can't do it. And Indiana went out there and just stole Alabama's manhood on national TV in the Rose Bowl for the whole country to see. That's what Alabama used to do to opponents. They can't do it anymore.
Yeah, and you kind of saw it early on, they at the end of the first quarter where, they lined up for the field goal. A couple of plays before that where Indiana was just pushing the pile. And the Rose Bowl crowd was going absolutely nuts. But the offensive line has been really, really good all year for Indiana. Obviously, both him being black can run the football. Both big days yesterday, but Dunaway, you mentioned the most balanced team in college football, and you get the same thing on the, not only is it a great offense, and Mendoza can go out there and win games himself, but they can run the ball effectively, and then on the other side, the defense just gets after you, and there was a reason coming into this game they were a top 3 scoring defense.
Just such a dominant performance. It was superior in every phase. And it was the best win in Indiana history is what everyone keeps telling me. Did it feel that way inside the building? Like the Indiana fans, like I remember 1989, Alabama playing at Auburn, Jordan-Hare, just the emotions of Alabama and Auburn finally playing on campus and Auburn getting that game down there. You saw grown men crying. When Auburn won the national championship in 2010, I remember seeing those type of emotions in the stands. Not that that necessarily was the biggest win in Auburn history, but it was a big win at that point in time. For Indiana, best win in program history. Tell me about the emotions from the Indiana fans inside the Rose Bowl, guys.
Well, I mean, I think they were a confident bunch. This was not like maybe the score. I think everybody was stunned by the score, right? But they were not stunned that they won the game. They were a very, very confident bunch pregame. They celebrated during the game as they should have. They celebrated heavily after the game as they should have. That was a confident fan base. That fan base did not come there thinking, oh, my gosh, we've got to somehow find a way. We got to pull a stone out of the purse and put it in our slingshot and hit Goliath between the eyes. They came in thinking that they were the better football team and they were going to win. You interacted with the fans more because of the man on the street stuff you did, but that Indiana fan base was a confident fan base.
Oh, very, very confident. And look, this is not an exaggeration, Dunaway, when I tell you, we saw one Alabama fan, I think, going up until the game, just a couple of days out, and just, a handful of Indiana fans running around where we are here, Newport, Venice, or Venice / Marina del Rey. Once I got to the stadium yesterday, Alabama fans showed up kind of late. The Indiana fans were there early because we were there three hours early.
There actually ended up being more Alabama fans than I thought there were going to be honest.
Yeah, they've just been like, hey, we've done this before. Yeah. Like, we know when to show up at the Rose Bowl. And we'll get to that in a little bit, another disaster. But the Indiana fans, it felt like at times 10, 20 to 1 Indiana fans, but talking to all of them were I didn't talk to one Indiana fan that was like, oh, this is Alabama. I don't think we can beat them. Every single one said they were going to win the game, and a lot of them said going away.
And Curt Cignetti is a legend in that fan base, Jim. I mean, the Cignetti T-shirts are everywhere that look like a cigarette package. I mean, there's as much Cignetti gear as there is Indiana gear. I mean, they love this guy and what he has done for this football program. I don't even know who the governor of this great state of Indiana is right now, but if Cignetti ran, for whatever reason, I don't know why you would leave a football job to run for governor, but if he ran, he'd win in a landslide right now.
Let's hear from the Alabama folks in the postgame after you hear from a couple of our great sponsors. One of them, LT, is our friends at Crane U. If you're looking to change jobs in 2026, there's great opportunities waiting for you out there, and Crane U is the path to get there.
Look, get the Crane training you need today. If you're looking for a new career or need further training to advance your current one, our friends at Crane U offer the comprehensive state-of-the-art, fully stocked training facilities for mobile cranes, overhead lifts, or forklift training. If you want to use your own equipment, that's fine. The team at Crane U will come to you on-site, on-location training, offered nationwide. Make your job easier, your job site safer. Crane U also offers certification, safety inspections to ensure the safest environment possible. Classes available monthly, so call or visit our friends at Crane U. Call 855-CRANE-U. Visit them online at craneu.com. Very important mention. The next round, 10% off from our friends at Crane U.
And our friends, Brownie, at Bojangles.
They can make it bow time for you at Bojangles, whether it is breakfast on your way to work or school when school's back in. Lunch, dinner, those great hand-breaded chicken tenders, those smaller bow bites are fantastic either way. And listen, there's still plenty of college football and NFL to be played. You're going to hang around, watch it with the group. How about letting Bojangles handle that for you? They can make sure your party is just as tasty as ever with those hand-breaded tenders, the fried chicken, the great sides, all of that right there at Bojangles. Whether it is lunch, breakfast, dinner, or a great party, you can always make it bow time with Bojangles.
Here's Kalen DeBoer's opening statement when he visits with the media after the 38-3 loss in the Rose Bowl. This is what the Alabama coach sounded like immediately after the game.
I think for us, it's a lot of emotions right now, shared in the locker room. We can be upset, because losing doesn't sit well with us, and we can be, frustrated about it, but and that's what our program's going to be, is upset when these type of situations happen, and we've got to use it to fuel us moving forward. I think also, obviously, but I'm going to be proud. I'm going to be proud of these guys and proud of who they are and what we accomplished this year. We came up short of our goal, and I think the other emotion would be just sad for the guys, and these would be two of them right here. Hard to look them in the eye, because the emotions that go through me when I think about what they've given to me and given to this program every single day, everything they got. And so our guys, going back to a year ago, were all in, and they, committed to each other. They committed to, this season, and it showed up in the actions. It wasn't just actions that happened this fall. It happened every single day going back to early January. So again, frustrated, upset, and it doesn't sit well with us, but after today, all we can do is move on.
It's Kalen DeBoer afterwards. Historically speaking, guys, this was the worst postseason defeat for Alabama, passing Nebraska Orange Bowl 1972, 32-point loss to Nebraska. That was a game for the national championship back then, and Johnny Rogers' Nebraska team, I think that score was like 38-6, and it was never close in that contest. It was never really close after the first quarter yesterday either. 35-point loss to Arkansas in 1998, the biggest defeat since then. Alabama got waxed that same year in the Music City Bowl, but nothing like it as on this kind of stage with this much at stake since 1972 Nebraska. Now, I compared it, Brownie. You and I were at this game, the one in Santa Clara. Now, Alabama's stats were a lot better in that game, but Clemson handed it to Alabama that night, and I put it into context. I didn't really have an expectation of this Alabama team winning a national championship. Maybe winning this game and going another step, or maybe getting to a national. I didn't think this team was, anything they got in the playoffs was going to be gravy for me. But that team that lost in Clemson in Santa Clara, I thought that was one of the better Alabama teams under Nick Saban. I was surprised that team, they had national championship expectations, and Dabo called off the Dogs in the fourth quarter there. This is how that yesterday felt to me. That game was worse. It felt like that game back in Santa Clara to me. As you watched it unfold, what was it historically for you?
Worse than the Santa Clara game, because in the Santa Clara game, Alabama had life in that game. Like Tua threw the early interception, but like Alabama, I don't know, they kept moving the ball and trying to get back in the game. They could never stop Trevor Lawrence and Justin Ross. They never had any sort of answer for them, but they just kept trying to get in the game. This Alabama team, man, when they got kicked right there by Indiana, I don't want to say some guys gave up, but boy, there was not a whole lot of life in that team. I don't know how it came across on TV, but sitting there in the stadium, the life got sucked out of that team. Really, the only time you saw a spark of life was when Austin Mack came in for Ty Simpson, and it was 24-0 at that point.
I thought what was so interesting is you look at, we've had 8 teams now get byes through the first 2 years of the college football playoff, and only one team that has gotten a bye has won a game, and that's Indiana. And the way they won it, and I think a lot of people look at this. And
Alabama looks like the bye team.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these teams are going in with momentum. They've been fresh. They've been playing. They haven't had these 25-plus day layoffs. And, Alabama looked like the team that had the layoff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, though, the key play, and we can get into this whenever, was that 4th and 1, down 3-0. I think 12:26 to go, second quarter. Just an absolute awful play call after getting to reset it 3 different times, from Indiana taking the timeout, Alabama, taking their timeout, I think it was after, and then still lining up Daniel Hill pitching it to Germ. It was just a awful play call.
Yeah, I would tell you, when you're exactly right, when you can't run the football, I had no problem with you going for it right there, but it's got to be a pass play for me. You know what I mean? It's got to be something that actually has produced, results throughout the course of the year. We'll talk about fourth down decisions everywhere, including Kirby's, coming up as we move throughout the show here. They said it on the broadcast, and I know when you're at the games you don't always hear the broadcast, but it was at some point, I think it was in the third quarter, Herbstreit said Alabama's just existing out there.
Yeah.
Indiana's, fighting, and Alabama's just existing. And they used these phrases on the broadcast. I think it was one sequence where Alabama's being humiliated, and Herbstreit in some used the word embarrassing as he followed that up there. So humiliating and embarrassing from Fowler and Herbstreit, and just existing was another thing that was part of the broadcast.
Yeah, that sums up what I was trying to say about the difference between the beatdown by Clemson and Santa Clara and last night. I never really felt like in Santa Clara, Alabama was just existing. It felt like they were still, even when they were way down, you had a feeling Tua could spark it and they could still get back in the game. They were just existing.
Yeah.
Herbstreit's absolutely right.
Well, it seemed like equivalent talent when obviously Alabama was on the field with Clemson, and that's the crazy thing. It seemed like Indiana was such the better team. And are people upset with the comments from Herbstreit and Fowler?
Yeah, Jim, tell me. I mean, how did that go over?
No, I mean, that's exactly what Alabama fans were saying. They could have been reading our Twitter feed on the broadcast. It would have said exactly the same thing right there. Nobody's upset with that at all. That's just what they said in the broadcast. I was just passing that along to you.
I heard it. But hey, trust me, Dunaway, I was already in a sports bar when they said it.
Yeah, that does not surprise me there. I as I watched this, and you watched Ty Simpson battle through the pressure. The one thing that kept going to me, the best pass rusher was missing in the game for Indiana, but they were still getting home with blitzes, and people keep asking me, the overreaction text and tweets I was getting was, obviously the overreaction on DeBoer and this coaching staff, this and that. And I go back to this, and I'll stand by this. Since 2021, when Nick Saban was still the coach, so 3 years of Saban and 2 years of DeBoer, in 2021, 2022, 23, 24, and 25, Alabama's offensive line play has gotten worse every year, in my opinion. Now, we've had great players come through Tuscaloosa, like our buddy Tyler Booker, who's a beast in the NFL. But as a unit, offensive line play has gotten worse since 2021. Now, I don't know if that's the style of offense, the style of quarterback, the lack of a running back. I don't know what the problem is, but the O-line play since Alabama's last national title has gotten worse every year. The flip side of that, Indiana, who I think I'm right about this, guys, when you put all the stars and recruiting talent on paper, I think Indiana's 72nd in the country, right? And a lot of their players are James Madison players. Now, the Rose Bowl MVP is an offensive line transfer from Notre Dame last year onto the Indiana team, and it was cool that he got to represent the O-line as the MVP of the Rose Bowl. I do get the feeling Mendoza went up there and said, listen, don't give me the MVP. Give it to my O-line, and they went on and did that. But that O-line for Alabama, and I know they tried, but that has been the problem, and it started in 2021, and God bless Ty Simpson for doing what he did this year. He's been dodging bullets all season long.
And he that first possession where Alabama gets the 3 and out, and you look at their defense, okay.
2 sacks on that 3 and out.
Yeah, I mean, Mendoza didn't know what was coming. You're like, okay. And then they punt it to Alabama, and Alabama actually moves the football, and you're like, all right, this looks like maybe we had misjudged this game a little bit. But even in that possession, which up until, I don't know, I don't even know when Alabama had another good possession after that, Simpson was still running for his life a lot in that possession. He was just able to make plays, but he was still running for his life. I mean, they were still, like Jim said, they were still getting home on the blitz.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lance, I get the feeling, I don't know where you were going into this game. I know you were not surprised by Indiana being as good as they were. Were you still surprised they were able to pressure Alabama even without the big injury on the edge?
Not really. I mean, again, going back to your point, this offensive line has not been good this year. I mean, it's obvious they can't run the football, but at the same time, it's, pass protection hasn't been great, and Indiana has gotten after everybody all year long. And just to answer your question, I did give out Indiana minus 7.5 yesterday. I thought that they would win the game by double digits. I didn't think it would look like 38-3, though.
No, I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you, I was very surprised. Like, I knew Indiana was good and Signetti could coach. You don't get those kind of records without being able to coach. I had no idea they could come in and steal Alabama's manhood, Jim. So I will cell phone. I know Lance has liked Indiana all year long. I thought they've obviously been a really good football team. I had no idea they were that good. When you watch it in person, that is just such a fundamentally sound team. It seems like they're in the right place at the right time every single time. Mendoza, the throw he made, I think it was their second possession, Jim, after Alabama had to punt. And he made that like 30-yard out down the sidelines. That was an absolute rope. That guy can he can spin the football.
He is an elite college quarterback that has an opportunity to be really, really good at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And his receivers made some tough catches in some tough situations as well. We continue to break down that game. The question that's on everybody's mind is how this team should be remembered, and Kalen DeBoer, where he is right now. We'll hear from the players in just a second. I will say this. More football today as Mississippi State at 5-7 is a favorite against 8-4 Wake Forest, last SEC team to play in a bowl game. Ole Miss is still alive. Full breakdown of that game coming up in segment number 2. Lance's Lock gives you a play on those games. Tell us about Lance's Lock and our friends at Hemphill.
Yeah, 6-1 in college football over the last 2 days. We had the only 2 plays we gave out yesterday were Oregon and Indiana. Jump on board, win with us. We've got 3 bowl games up today. We've got 1 total, 2 sides. Jump on board, lanceslock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, cooling, any of those issues arise in your home or business. They are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
All right, everybody making New Year's resolutions, right? Hopefully you haven't already broken yours here on January 2nd. If you're an Alabama fan, your resolution was not to throw something at the TV. Maybe you've already broken that one. But one resolution you can make is go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV. And you can always find them online at johnstonrvcenter.com. One thing I want to remind you of is RV Warranty Forever works with them to give you a lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned. They also have a price range for just about everybody in the low hundreds per month with approved credit and 0 down. But all the way up to those big motor coaches. If you want to go see America in one of those, you can do it from Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Listen, I've got a breakdown of who Alabama, there'll be players that hit the portal starting today. But the guys who are out of eligibility, that includes Bernard and Dewberry, Vandermark, Roberts, Cuevas, Miller on the offense, Overton, Big Tim Keenan, Jefferson, Hill Green, Jones and Jackson, and Big Deontay Lawson, who has been a stud for years at Alabama. Here's Brownie and Brooks talking with Deontay Lawson post-game. And he talks about this team and Kalen DeBoer.
Man, last year when Coach DeBoer came in, nobody really know how to feel. It's, man, you coming behind the greatest college coach of all time. So no one really, especially the guys that have been there, like we don't really know what to expect. And, to just watch him transform and, basically elevate from last year to this year and, really put his print on the program and have the guys buy in. And, man, Coach DeBoer is an excellent coach. Man, I'm not done. I'm sorry. He cares. He cares for us. He cares for us. He cares for his players. He cares to keep this program up like it's been, and man, he's always wanted to get better. So I know like I said, his future will definitely be remembered here.
Okay, so I want your emotions of seeing that in real time, Brownie, and then LT. I want you to react on where you think where do you think the program is right now moving forward, and put this season in perspective a little bit. But I'll just read one comment. DeBoer is soft AF, soft liberal AF. Went from boot camp to summer camp. That's some of the fan reactions that I was getting either text or tweeted last night. So you were there with those guys in the locker room, Brown. I've been there with them as well over the last couple of years. Give me a little of emotions there, and then LT, tell me about where DeBoer is right now.
So Josh Cuevas also talked about DeBoer, and both of them, you heard what Lawson said there in Cuevas, two departing guys, and they both talked in glowing terms about him. I tell you one thing that did jump out, and that was a very long answer. Scott had to edit some of that because Deontay went on a very, very long answer, and he got emotional, so he had to stop a couple of times. But one thing he said in that answer was he's definitely a player's coach, and that stuck with me because I'm not necessarily saying that's a pejorative to be a player's coach, but again, and when Kalen DeBoer took this job, he knew this was going to be the case. He's always going to be compared to Nick Saban. Would you call Nick Saban a player's coach?
I would not.
And I think when Alabama fans, when you're not having success and they hear that, they hear a player call a coach a player's coach, they look at that and say, see, that's the Jim, that's the genesis of that tweet you got, right? I mean, that's the thought process behind that tweet, that you went from boot camp to summer camp because you've gone from, hard ass ride you to a player's coach. And whether that is true or not, when you hear players say that, it meets the perception that Alabama fans already have about this guy.
Yeah, and I think even it gets more magnified, the fact that you got beat by Nick Saban 2.0. At least that's what it looks like right now with Kirk Cignetti and the way you got beaten down.
Yeah.
But to your question, Dunaway, I mean, you go from 9 wins in year one, last team out of the college football playoff, 11 wins this year, playing for an SEC championship is technically the 1 seed. You win a college football playoff game. If this would have been a, Georgia Ole Miss last night, 38-35 game, I think Alabama fans are like, it sucks we lost, but damn, we were right there, and this is getting a lot better. I think this one's going to leave a bitter taste in the mouths of Alabama fans. I got a text from one last night. Sorry, I won't be listening to you guys for the next 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's no reaction.
I know.
Just free to react to this.
Hell, we didn't miss a block. Don't blame us.
But back, you brought up the Clemson loss. I remember us on Jocks, and a lot of people tapped out for months because they were so upset about how they lost that game. But look, it's an improvement from year one to year two for Kalen DeBoer. I know it didn't, the ending was not great at all. But imagine if he gets if they make the jump from year one to year two, the same jump year two to year three. I mean, what does that put you playing for the national championship? Probably.
I guess so. I guess, playing for a national championship. And maybe people will believe then. I don't know. But, Jim, and this is a broader discussion, he's got to make some decisions on his coaching staff, I think. Don't you?
Well, O-line, as the portal opened up officially 9 hours and 28 minutes and 18 seconds ago. And I know they've got some good O-line recruits. But, Either it needs to be taught different. They need to start eating nails in glass. I don't know what it is, but Alabama needs a different mentality tackle to tackle. The way they block and the fierceness and the protection that they throw out there. The defense didn't look good yesterday, but I was happy. I've been, transformed into a believer in the swarm and what Kane Womack can do. But that offensive line, I think Ty Simpson's a really good quarterback. People love the way he diagnoses things. I think the receivers have some talent. You can't question the effort Cuevas gave you in his career. But at the O-line, if you just had an O-line that can run the football some. Guys, this is 3 postseason games, the non-scheduled games after the season. -3 versus Georgia in the SEC championship, 28 in Norman in the playoffs, 23 yesterday at the Rose Bowl. Those are the rushing yards for Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, and that's how you get to 4 consecutive games to end the season sub 300 yards on offense.
Yeah. I mean, that's just not it's not Alabama football, and it's not winning football.
Yeah.
You can't win consistently. You put so much pressure on your defense and your quarterback.
That's not sustainable for Tom Brady.
No.
In his heyday. It's not sustainable for anybody. You got to have some run game.
No.
So, yeah, you've got to adjust something. Now, is that – I mean, LT, you tell me. Ryan Grubb with the Seattle Seahawks. 1 year he was there. Why did they punt him? Why did they want him out at Seattle? Run game, wasn't it?
They couldn't run the football. And you look at it this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
what happened?
Yeah, the balance between Charbonnet and Walker, I mean – it's a really balanced offense. And I think Alabama fans, and I was kind of in that camp, like Ryan Grubb coming back, this is going to be much better for the offense. And if you would have said Alabama wins 11 games, they lose 4, and they're in this situation, I would have been like, well, they got better because the offense got better with Ryan Grubb. The offense, it was completely different because it was Jalen Milroe last year. But there was just not, I go back to the Georgia game. It was fluid in Georgia. It looked like
that's where it peaked.
It looked like Ryan Grubb was making the right call every time he made a call, and it's where it peaked. And it was back in September. It's just, literally, it's an easy way to phrase it, but it's been broken.
Since halftime of the Georgia game, Jim, it's never been the same.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Can't explain it. But Lance is right. Since halftime of the Georgia game, that offense has never been the same.
But even in that game, they had 19 third down plays and converted on 13 of them. So with no running game that much there that night, too, you had 19 third down plays, and you had to have a historic 13 of 19 on third down to have that kind of night. And maybe that's just that offensive system. And I love the passing game. I love the passing, the route trees, and love the way that looks. And I think that can win a lot of football games. But you got to do a little tweaking to the run game in order to just help out whoever is playing quarterback. All right, that's our opening segment. When we come back, we got to talk about the other playoff games, and then we'll circle back around to Alabama throughout the show. But it was the best game of the year last night in the Sugar Bowl, which probably beat the second best game of the year when those two teams played in Athens. Pete Golding looks like a dog of a head coach so far through 2 games. And I know you got to recruit and you got to put talent on the field, but Pete Golding looks every bit the part right now because he made tough decisions last night and had his teams prepared against the GOAT right now in Kirby Smart. We'll get to all that after LT tells us about the great folks at Woodhouse Day Spa. LT, it's a new year, but Woodhouse wants to make you chill out in 2026.
Yes, relax, and you can get the gift of relaxation from our friends at the Woodhouse Day Spa, Birmingham's best day spa, conveniently located at the Summit Shopping Center's beautiful location. Stop in, see Stuart and the great staff, or you can go online. You can buy gift cards 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, the massages, the waxing, the nail services, all right there at your fingertips. birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Speaking of chilling out in 2026, if you want to drop some weight, Leslie and her board-certified team have this proven success rate here. I've used them for years there to keep the weight off me. I mean, look at me. I'm an old guy now, but I'm a smooth 179 now because Maggie made a fudge pie over the weekend that I've eaten the entire thing with a lot of Bluebell ice cream beside it. So I put on a little weight since Christmas Eve, but I'm telling you, Way to Wellness can help me get right back to the 175 I want to be, likely by the time Alabama and Kentucky tips off tomorrow morning. I'll be back to where I want to be thanks to the plan they have for me right there. Aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. There's no contract. There's no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is absolutely free. And listen, they've got injection therapies if you need to go that route. They've got meal replacements if you want to just make your life a lot more simpler. I use the snack bars to keep from bad snacking in between some healthy meals. It's all right there for you. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
You know what, D? I hate being on this highway with all these 18-wheelers. I don't know what I'd do if I got in an accident with one.
First, call 911 to report the accident, and then hit up the gators of the litigation situation. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney, because accidents with 18-wheelers, delivery truck, and construction vehicles are complicated. Call 1-800-229-7989 or hit them up at Shunnarah.com. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney. We go deeper. We fight harder. We win bigger. Call me, Alabama.
Physical office location, Birmingham.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster want to welcome you in for a great lunch or dinner starting at 11 a.m. every day. Chicken that's brined overnight and cooked to order, and the taste of the Delta with those Delta recipe tamales. Champy's is perfect for all your tailgating needs this football season. You can also choose Champy's for your next party, wedding, or birthday. Great food, great people. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and everything online at champyschicken.com.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Back with you on The Next Round before we go back out to the guys in California as they continue our coverage of the Rose Bowl out there. I do want to point out that Indiana scored on, after that 3-and-out where Alabama's D looked so good on the opening drive, they scored on 6 of their next 7 drives with barely any incompletions at all. And that includes sticking it in Alabama's eye after the 4th down play that didn't go right, where I think it was Charlie Becker that made the unbelievable hands catch in the end zone. Here is Bray Hubbard on how Alabama's defense played in this game against IU.
I really think we matched the physicality really well. We played very physical. It was just there were some things just
a misfit in gaps that opened up a seam, and that's what they hit. Overall, I think defensively we played really physical. Just obviously the score doesn't show it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I felt like we played really good up front, but there was just small things, and that's what you got to get corrected is little things, and that's what hurt us. And we played really well at times. Then somebody gets out of their gap and it pops. So it's just playing gap sound.
Gap sound, boy, I haven't heard that be a complaint about this defense since the opener against Florida State, where they were not gap sound in that one. I mean, even in the Georgia loss at the SEC championship game or the Oklahoma game where they lost that game, I thought the defense played really well in that game. But that Florida State game, there were some gap problems, and it reared its ugly head again yesterday, guys.
Yeah, I mean, the way the season began, the way the season ended, I mean, most teams are going to end with a loss on their seasons, but, man, it just
those bookends are bad, though.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Bray was on the field, but watching the game, it didn't look like Alabama was nearly as physical as Indiana. And you look at a couple of things. Alabama only committed one penalty. They only turned it over one time against a team that is plus 17 in turnovers this year.
That turnover was the end of the game.
It was, yeah. Look, and that the momentum on that, and the fact that Ty gets hurt on that play.
Yeah, I mean, a lot happened in that play, Jim, but you'd already had Ty Simpson slide short of the first down, which led to the fourth down, which led to Indiana getting the ball and scoring, going up 10-0. And then as Alabama is showing, I mean, just any chance to get back in that game, Simpson fumbles it, and it's doubled down on by the fact that he breaks his rib. Or he gets his rib broken. It wasn't his fault, but he gets his rib broken in that fumble. I mean, that play right there was the end of the game. And it felt that way, by the way. I'm not just saying that in revisionist history hindsight. When he fumbled, that felt like the end of the game.
Well,
right there.
From y'all's point of view, on the first slide that was short of the fourth down, I got multiple people texting me, and I wasn't watching the broadcast, and I know you probably weren't either. I think Dunaway obviously was. But people were like, that should have been a personal foul.
It should, it should have been, because if he is sliding, you're gonna put him down short of the yard to gain because he went feet first. Then the hit, he's unprotected at that point. He's what is it? Protected player, unprotected, whatever the rule is, and he gets hit in the head.
Defenseless.
Defenseless. Yeah, he gets hit in the head at that point. So. Probably.
Boy, that would have been huge. I mean, that puts him on Indiana's side of the field, first down, instead of giving up or turning it over on downs, and then it's 10-0
game.
Yeah, but it was just one of those days. By the way, you guys know how it works, right, Brownie and LT? The broadcast team, like Fowler and Herbstreit in this case, they sit down with the coaches and the players, and they get some information that you aren't supposed to use on the air. Fowler let it leak out that that Ty's been dealing with a bursa sac injury most of the season. That's in your elbow. So for those, if you're wondering why Ty's passing has looked different since the Missouri game, it's a bursa sac injury, at least according to Fowler during the broadcast. And then of course he couldn't continue with the cracked rib. It was obvious, I think, that it was a third down play where Ty checked down short of the first down, and you could see DeBoer talking to him coming off the field like they had a shot down the field that he chose to check it down short of the marker, and they didn't get the first down, and they went to Austin Mack on the next series. It was obvious at that point where Ty probably told him, I don't think I could have gotten it to him. That's why I checked it down. And DeBoer at that point was like, well, if you can't throw that pass, we have no chance. Let's make the change at quarterback. But it's a interesting situation when you have a quarterback as banged up as Ty was, and he played his guts out for Alabama, and it ends with a cracked rib, and you could just tell the emotions in his eyes when he couldn't go out there and finish the season with his team that he's played so hard for this year. We'll hear more from the Bama locker room coming up. Let's talk about the Classic at the Sugar Bowl and the other games, and our Final Four. Fuhrman at the top of the hour, by the way, to talk about early point spreads on those games. Show being brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club. Tell us about Inverness, LT.
Yeah, find your sense of community with our friends at the Inverness Country Club. 2026 going to be your year to go out and play a record round of golf. How many rounds of golf do you play this year?
Gosh, Dunaway actually knows his number.
85 for me.
Yeah, 85 for me. I'm going to be short of that, but I'm going to be in the high 60s.
Well, look, if this is the year you're going to be playing a lot of golf, check into membership. It might make sense for you and your family at the Inverness Country Club. Maybe you relocated to retired. It's a great place to network. Childcare is also a big plus. You and your wife want a day of golf or tennis. Guess what? You can drop the kid, go have yourself a day on the court or course. Best days happen in Inverness. To take a tour of the club, call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
And when you find yourself in need of an attorney for any reason, Alexander Shunnarah is where you go. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com. You don't pay a dime unless they win your case with the Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys. Alexander Shunnarah, as you know, handles personal injury cases. You're well aware of that, but it goes well beyond that. Also, he handles workers' cases, bad drug and device cases, storm damage cases, many, many more. So don't just think because it's a personal or not a personal injury case, he can't help you. Not at all. Alexander Shunnarah, he's got a wealth of attorneys there, more than 150, so they can handle a lot of cases for you. So Shunnarah.com is where you go. Those attorneys have recovered more than $2 billion for their clients, and they can work for you as well. You don't pay a dime unless they win your case with Alexander Shunnarah trial attorneys. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
All right, so first of all, medically, I was always bad at the game operation. Bursa sac also is there in the knee and the hip. So it could be a hip, a shoulder. It could be not necessarily an elbow. Back to what Fowler said on the broadcast about it being a bursa sac injury for Ty Simpson that he'd been dealing with throughout a lot of the back half of the season. Now to Ole Miss in Georgia. Pete Golding, the coaching moment of the game is when Kirby ran on his offense and Pete already had defensive personnel out there, didn't flinch, didn't have to do a mass substitution. Now, Kirby says it wasn't supposed to be a snap there. It was supposed to be a dead count. We were trying to jump them off sides or delay a game. And the ball was snapped, even surprised Stetson, and you could tell the left tackle didn't even move. So he got a blow-by in the sack there. But that was a big moment in the game. I don't know about you guys. Lance, I'll start with you. Clock management, being aggressive in the fourth quarter. Everything Pete Golding did last night, I thought it was check, 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 yes, 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 as the look of a great head coach.
Yeah, and I think they fooled Georgia. You know, when they said with that final field goal, you know, it was a 3rd and 3, and they said on the broadcast, like, Ole Miss has got to be careful because if they punt this away with 30 seconds, whatever it was, 34, 35 seconds, Georgia still got 3 timeouts. And I really believe the way Georgia, at least the alignment was, they thought Ole Miss was going to run it, be conservative, try to get this thing to overtime, and they go up top. And, yeah, I mean, look, Charlie Weiss Jr., Joe Cox, Joe Judge, you got to give all these guys credit because what they were able to do last night, especially once they were down 21-12, after the Kewan Lacey scoop and score fumble, I thought that game was over.
Yeah, I at first, Jim, when like you said, when you see the tackle not move and you can tell he's a little surprised to get the football, you wondered what was up there. I couldn't believe it when he sent the offense back out, though. Like, it made more sense when Kirby said it was supposed to be a dead count, try to draw him off sides. There was really no reason to go for that 4th down from that spot on the field, in my opinion. Now, again, that's easy to say when it doesn't work. But now that you know the whole story, that they were just trying to draw them off sides, it does make a little bit more sense. But much like Alabama's 4th down that failed very early in the game, that 4th down changed the game because, like Lance said, you end up getting a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a 10-point game, and Georgia's playing uphill from that point on.
Yeah, and I think it was 24-12, then it was 24-19, and then Ole Miss gets the turnover and a quick touchdown, right? And then it's Katie bar the door, but then Georgia survives, and it's 34-34, and like LT said, you get that big 3rd and 5 with 32 seconds left, a 40-yard connection to Deshaun Stribling. Here's Pete Golding. After the game, I don't know if we have to bleep any of this, but my goodness, Pete Golding is not going to stop cussing. I don't care what microphone he's on. He's fantastic. He gets asked the difference in the second half for his Ole Miss Rebels.
What was the difference in the second half to be able to turn it on, and what were you telling your guys at halftime about it being that close still and that you're in it?
Yeah, I think, the first half we didn't leverage the ball very well on defense, and,
we were getting to the ball. We just had a lot of missed tackles, and this was an issue when we played them the first time. We had double-digit missed tackles and understanding angles and all that. So we weren't really concerned from a scheme standpoint. There wasn't anything at halftime that we were like, all right, we got to change a lot of things. We just got to execute better and get the guy with the ball on the ground. And then offensively, they didn't stop us in the first half. We turned one over and then did a poor job, obviously, with the clock at the end, to not get 3. So wasn't concerned about that at all. We just said, look, I told them all, take a deep breath, right? Let's go play one at a time. And we got good enough players. We got good enough players to beat anybody. And so when they're on the same page, we will beat anybody.
I mean, he managed the timeouts to have that little few seconds left to try to get in field goal range. He went for it on some fourth downs and made it. Helped out that Trinidad Chambliss had the game of his life with 362 yards passing. But, I mean, there were a lot of tough decisions that Pete Golding had to make in that game as a guy who's got he's the defensive coordinator, and you could see him on the sidelines, LT, still walking around looking at tapes while the offense is out there. But he's making all the head coaching calls too. And there was no flaw in his game. There was no flaw in his game as a head coach.
Yeah, he looks like a head coach. It was funny, we were talking about on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was, previewing this game. You've got a guy that has one career win as a head coach going against a guy that has 2 national championships.
It's such a mismatch, right?
And everybody thought it would be,
but it wasn't.
And I ended up staying away from that game, but it's so easy to pull for Pete Golding right now. How you go from one of the most unlikable coaches in football to such a likable guy, but he's just owning it right now.
Now, when you say unlikable, you meant that Alabama fans didn't really like it. No, you're talking about Lane
Kiffin. Yeah.
Okay,
you could use either way, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Okay.
Alabama fans weren't big Pete Golding fans as far as his defense, but, man, just an incredible story right now. And I don't know how you guys feel about this. I mean, I think Ole Miss is a better team than Miami. I know Miami's everybody's darlings right now. I think Ole Miss is going to end up playing for the national championship.
Think about that.
Which is they're the sole survivor right now when it comes to the conference, the SEC. But, man, just amazing. I would think that people that don't really have a dog in the fight are going to be pulling for Ole Miss.
Not pull for him, Jim, because, I mean, I'm just watching, on our return screen here, the press conference. He just looks like they went up in the stands and they're like, all right, see that fan on row 12? Let him come do the post-game press conference.
Well, he might have to get that fan to come be one of the assistants. Like, hey, Dunaway, you can get more into this, but like nobody expected this. So now, what does Lane Kiffin do with these guys?
Because today the portal opens, Jim, and half his staff is in Oxford, Mississippi.
Here's the update: only Charlie Weiss Jr. got on the plane and flew back with Ole Miss. The other assistants who have signed contracts with LSU stayed in Louisiana. Now, Lane has sent out a release saying that he's very transparent with Pete Golding. The plan has been in place. They will continue to help with the historic championship run. And Lane's fueling this. He tweeted out a picture back on Tuesday night of all the LSU assistants who are still helping Ole Miss working with LSU. And Kiffin tweeted out the picture. We're all working late for LSU here, and it was just a shot at the Ole Miss folks because it was all the guys who were supposed to be preparing for Ole Miss, and they did a heck of a job. But Joe Cox, George McDonald, and Kevin Smith, according to Slayball, didn't get on the plane to go back to Oxford with the team. Only Charlie Weiss Jr. did. They said in the broadcast that Charlie Weiss Jr. has told Lane that if I can't finish the run with Ole Miss, that I'm not coming with you to LSU. I will stay at Ole Miss.
Ooh.
So they said that in the broadcast that Charlie Weiss Jr. has told Kiffin that if you make me choose leaving these guys and not finishing the deal, I will come back. I will stay at Ole Miss.
There is, and now we discussed this yesterday, whether Kiffin was pulling for Ole Miss or not. But there is no doubt in my mind at this moment, Ole Miss got a good shot at winning a national championship, and or at least playing for one. There is no doubt in my mind that Lane Kiffin does not want Pete Golding winning a national championship or playing for one before he does.
No.
So I don't think he's going to remain cooperative at all in this.
And it's very realistic, as you said, that they could win this. And then you got to start to think, Lane Kiffin's got to get a ring out of this.
Oh, no. No, there is nobody at Ole Miss that's giving Lane Kiffin a ring.
I'm just saying, though, but I mean, he's the guy that actually built this foundation.
Yep. Yeah. He could go to the website and buy the commemorative, but he ain't getting one from Ole Miss.
Listen,
I agree.
I know
what you're saying.
I know Archie Manning is old, But if you, but they still honor Archie Manning in the building at the Superdome. There's even Archie Manning. His number's retired there as a Saint. Archie Manning may be one of the most popular Louisiana people of all time, but he's popular at Ole Miss as well. Archie Manning called Lane Kiffin a narcissist, and they played that soundbite during the pregame. We're happy with the coaching staff we have. Best of luck to our former narcissist coach in his next job, but he called him a narcissist. Wow. And Archie Manning's one of the nicest. I mean, Archie Manning's one of the nicest guys ever, and he called him a narcissist. No, I don't think he gets a ring at all. If he does, he buys it himself with Ole Miss's money or with LSU's money.
Probably would do that.
Yeah, LSU's giving him Ole Miss bonus money, so just buy a ring with it, I guess.
All right. More on the other games and all that with Fuhrman coming up as we march on. Michelson Laser Vision brings us the viewing menu. Tell us about Michelson, LT.
This is the year for you that you don't want to deal with the contacts or glasses anymore. I'm speaking from experience. Had the contacts for about a decade, was wasting money each and every year on those contacts. Went to see Dr. Mark Michelson way back in 2003. Had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without contacts. Didn't even realize that after the procedure, which only took 12 minutes for both eyes. 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Make sure you ask for Amy and you tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with that hassle-free consultation. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Before Tyler gives us the viewing menu, I know you guys were out there in California enjoying a great New Year's Eve. I had a wonderful New Year's Eve party I went to. Father of the Year, Scott Forrester, on New Year's Eve, Tyler takes his daughter to see 3 hours and 17 minutes, Avatar 3, I guess it is, right? Tell us about that, Forrester. First of all, did you stay awake?
I did. I think I did doze off for maybe about 90 seconds, which is a lot shorter of a nap than I took in the second Avatar movie.
Those movies are unnecessarily long.
Oh, it's so long.
Unnecessarily long.
Yes.
Oh, my
absolutely.
God.
You could condense this into half of that.
They are a slog.
A slog. Was it good, Forrester? The advertisements. It's not up for Film of the Year, as they say on billboards in Hollywood, but it is, of all the Avatar stories, it is the best one yet. Is it? You've seen all three of them, apparently.
I have. For whatever reason, my youngest loves them. So I've seen all of them, and I will give it this. It is definitely the most watchable of the three.
Yeah. Do you see them at all, Tyler?
I've seen the first
She's got a great
one,
personality.
Yeah, that's right. She could cook.
and I always felt like a bit of an outcast at the lunchroom table because I was the only one of my friend group that did not like that movie because I thought the story was dumb.
Yeah.
So I never saw the second one, and I don't plan on seeing the third one.
Yeah, apparently it's the best of them all. What else are you watching tonight or this weekend?
Tonight we've got a new release called We Bury the Dead. After a catastrophic military disaster, the dead don't just rise, they hunt. Ava searches for her missing husband, but what she finds is far more terrifying, and it stars Daisy Ridley. It's about an hour and a half long, and it looks like just kind of a disposable horror movie that you can go in, have some fun, and then leave. I'm also going to see Anaconda this afternoon with Jack Black and Paul Rudd.
That looks very silly.
It looks very dumb. I'm expecting it to be an absolute mind-numbingly dumb, funny movie. Netflix has added a very smart movie to its catalog, and that is Dune. I think that's actually a much better Timothée Chalamet performance than we got with Marty Supreme and the Bob Dylan movie last year, and I would really recommend it for any sci-fi fans.
Did you like Dune, LT? Did you see that one?
Yeah, I like I didn't like the original Dune in 1984, but I like the remake and Dune and Dune 2. Great. And I guess Dune 3 is coming next year, right, Tyler?
Yep, Dune 3 is coming next year, and Timothée Chalamet is returning, as well as Zendaya, and Robert Pattinson added to the cast. So it's going to be a very high level of excellence throughout the whole cast. And then finally on today's viewing menu, Disney Plus has added Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which is my favorite, Last Crusade, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, if you really want to watch the one where Shia LaBeouf runs around in it.
Listen, I blame my algorithm on you at this point, because somewhere my smartphone heard you say Timothy Chalamet, which I have never searched ever on my phone. And now on my Instagram, maybe it was TikTok. It was on TikTok. It was either last night or New Year's afternoon. On my TikTok feed, there's discussion about how Chalamet demanded that he didn't use a butt stunt double in whatever film is out now, that he wanted to use his own butt, that he did because it was important.
Trash yesterday.
Oh, it was on Trash yesterday. Yeah, we did it on Trash yesterday too.
That's why
or
your
2
phone
days
listens.
ago. 2 days ago. That's where it got into my algorithm. And I'm like, can't get past this guy demanding that he uses his own butt in there. How many people use stunt butts? I mean, I would have to. I don't have a butt. But, LT, is that a common thing?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's the body doubles. I mean, most of the chicks that you see naked from the backside that are high-level actresses, there's always a body double there. You know, I don't know if he wanted to show his ass off or if he just said, hey, look, I don't want somebody else to be spanked. I want to be all in on this performance. It sounded a little ridiculous, right?
For I don't want somebody else to be spanked. I want it to be me.
For this role, he also wore contacts that, like, messed up his vision, so he would have to wear glasses because the guy he was playing wore glasses. And
makes sense.
That just gets to a point where it's just dumb.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Just play the character. I don't need you to actually damage your vision to make this
Tyler
movie.
has killed this movie from the beginning.
He really has.
Todd Fuhrman.
I've never seen him hate a movie more.
Marty, not so supreme.
Todd Fuhrman coming up on the other side. Brownie, before you tell us about the great folks at Culver's, the lighting, the way it's hitting the trees back there, looks like it's snow in the trees. It's a beautiful shot with the fire going. It almost looks like you changed your green screen to a winter setting now. It looks like you guys are in Aspen this morning.
If only. We're gonna hit the Lance. I'm gonna hit the slopes after the show.
Do y'all have one of those chalets you can ski right into?
Yeah, that's it. This is ski out right here. Yeah. You may see them pass by us as the sun starts to come up.
Am I wrong, Forrest, or is that the way it looks on your monitor too?
It's a little white.
Yeah, it looks like there's snow in the trees back there with that fire. I mean, it's very, very Rockies.
You can right now go to our friends at Culver's anytime. But hey, listen, as basketball season continues or football season continues, if your team is still alive, great place to celebrate any win or any game is with our friends at Culver's. Treat yourself to something tasty at Culver's, from juicy butter burgers to creamy fresh frozen custard, crispy crinkle cut fries, gooey golden cheese curds. There's something for everyone in your crew to enjoy. Win or lose, Culver's is the perfect place to celebrate the sweet memories you will make all season long. So stop by Culver's in Birmingham, Stadium Trace in Tattersall Park, and make this game day a delicious one.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Oh, watch out, lady. What are you doing? Oh, wait. Come on, man. Shawty just destroyed my whip.
Say no, man. You need to call Alexander Shunnarah, man.
What the hell? Yeah, Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney. I heard they get you paid quick, fast, and in a hurry. With 500 attorneys. And staff holding it down for clients they've represented in 50 states. 659-777-7777. For Shunnarah.com. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney suing the insurance company, not the individual.
Call me, Alabama. What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459 exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new Chicken and Bowberry Waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a Bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try Chicken and Bowberry Waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Heading to talk to Todd Fuhrman. Show being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UCA will help you stay on top of your health, guys, as we move into a new year. Maybe you move into a new chapter of your life. Early detection literally saves your life when it comes to prostate cancer. At Urology Centers of Alabama, they've been taking care of you for over 70 years. 16 great locations, 205-930-0920. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Todd Fuhrman joins us now on the Shunnarah Hotline. Fuhrman, welcome in, man. If I start off, I just want to ask you, easiest play on the board from your perspective yesterday and count the Ohio State game of the 4 playoff games. When Alabama's line wasn't moving, especially after Ohio State lost, I knew that was bad news for Bama. Was that your biggest play yesterday? What was your favorite play of the 4 college football playoff games?
Biggest position I ended up with yesterday was a first half under in Oregon, Texas Tech, which worked out all right, although I think the score at the break was a little bit misleading. Did have a piece of Indiana laying 6.5 on that early open. You guys have known how I felt about this Alabama team going back to the Iron Bowl against Auburn. But unfortunately, I got baited into backing Georgia, thinking that they were going to be the superior coach team. Looked at that game, felt fortunate to be up 21-12 at the half, knowing that Kirby is known for his in-game adjustments. And credit Pete Golding and that Ole Miss staff for not taking their foot off the gas and doing the things it takes as a 6.5 point underdog this time of year, being the aggressor, and Trinidad Chambliss performed at an all-time high level, making the throws in high-leverage situations. So kudos to Ole Miss, a team I didn't think had a chance to win a national championship that now finds themselves 2 games away from doing the unthinkable.
Now, Fuhrman, I'm going to ask you, is it an Ole Miss brand problem, too? You know, we talked about that with Indiana, Alabama, and obviously Indiana ended up being a touchdown favorite. But going into this Miami game, I believe Miami's defense is great, but I think Ole Miss is the more complete team, and they're catching, depending on where you shop in this thing, 3.5 points. I thought it would be closer to a pick. Is it because of the Ole Miss brand?
So my number in this game before we saw each result during the quarterfinals, I would have made Miami a 2-point favorite from a pure power number perspective. I can understand why odds makers built in a little bit of tax going to a full field goal, but I do think you're going to have an appetite for Ole Miss throughout the betting market, grabbing the 3.5 points. I mean, if Trinidad Chambliss is capable of replicating the effort that we saw against Georgia, it makes Ole Miss extremely dangerous. Now, all of that being said, look, Georgia didn't have an elite defensive line all year, and we saw that on full display where they were able to generate a little bit of pressure. They couldn't keep Chambliss in the pocket. He was able to extend plays and come up with the explosives downfield. In my opinion, he's not going to have that luxury against two NFL-caliber D linemen against Miami who are going to most likely keep him contained, and when they have a chance to get a sack, they're going to do everything they can to create that level of disruption. And on the flip side of things, look, this was a Georgia team offensively that we knew had a couple of flaws. Kirby was extremely stubborn, and I really believe him being conservative, leading 21-12 coming out of into the second half, ends up costing them when they're in plus territory. And the longer that game went on, Ole Miss started to believe. But I'll also go one step further, and my biggest concern about the SEC at large, look, guys, I haven't been shy about hiding some of my concerns about the conference. The SEC now has one win against the team outside the SEC so far this playoff, and that's Ole Miss against Tulane. Ole Miss is going to step up in class against the Miami team that I think is playing their best football of the year. So no strong opinion for me yet, but I do think you'll see some Ole Miss appetite when this number gets to 3.5, if it does, more widely available.
Todd Fuhrman, CBS Sports, and former odds maker at Caesars Palace. At Todd Fuhrman on social media. He's with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline. That said, Miami has been an under machine, though, Fuhrman. Texas A&M could do nothing offensively on them. Ohio State could do nothing offensively on them. Of those three teams, is this Ole Miss offense the best they will have faced, in your opinion?
I think the way Trinidad Chambliss played in that second half, it's going to create some real complications. But you look at what Miami was able to do on the road, albeit working with the weather in their favor to completely bottle up Marcel Reed. I think Texas A&M had better offensive weapons, especially in the wide receiver room, and Kevin Concepcion and Mario Craver, than what we're going to see from Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl next Thursday. So this is a Miami team that I think will feel comfortable and confident in the matchup that's in front of them. On the flip side of things, I think that'll be the more fascinating matchup to watch. This Ole Miss defense, and if they're able to hold up against the Canes team, that's going to find it a little bit easier to move the football, at least in my opinion right now, against this Rebels defensive front than what they were able to do on the road in College Station and against an Ohio State defense that was still one of the better units in the country. I mean, Mark Fletcher running the ball right now at a very high level. Carson Beck doing enough in the passing game. And I think this is an opportunity for Malachi Toney to maybe get on track instead of being more of a possession receiver. So that, in my opinion, will be the chess match, not necessarily best on best, which is Miami's defense against Ole Miss's offense, but on the other side of the ball, Ken Carson Beck and the veteran leadership of a Miami offense that started to find an identity, albeit lacking some of that big play potential against the Rebel stop unit that I think all of us had major questions around, coming into this college football playoff and even through the latter portion of the regular season.
My reseeding of the final four teams would be Indiana 1, Ole Miss 2, Oregon 3, Miami 4. Is that reflected in the odds now to be national champions in your world out in Vegas?
Indiana, very close to being an odds-on favorite, depending on the book. Not quite there yet. You can find them in that plus 115 to plus 120 range. They will be a favorite, of course, against Oregon in the Peach Bowl on Friday night, and they would open as a favorite if they're able to advance the national championship against both Miami and Ole Miss. Oregon and Miami kind of neck and neck at this point. You figure Oregon would be a very modest favorite if they pull off the upset against Indiana and were to meet the Canes. So those two teams hovering right around that 3-1 range. And Ole Miss still remains the quote-unquote Cinderella on the board, knowing that they're going to go into the game against Miami as an underdog, and then they would open as a little bit more of a substantial dog in that 3.5-4 range, maybe a bit higher against Indiana, even if their power number improved. You can find them in that 6.5, 7-1 range. But it's worth noting that if you look at what these teams were available at pricing-wise throughout the year, I mean, Miami peaked right around 200-1. The day before they announced the college football playoff field, because I think a lot of us were under the assumption that Notre Dame was going to find themselves on the inside and Miami would be left out. Ole Miss, once the field was announced, you could have found the Rebels upwards of 80-1, which would be a nice ticket to have in that portfolio right now. Indiana early in the year before they knocked off Illinois, and in a dominant performance on national TV, right around 65 or 70 to 1. And Oregon, had the shortest odds throughout the course of the season. I don't think their number really ever drifted past that 18 to 1 price tag.
So Indiana, a 4-point favorite in that Peach Bowl. I think going back to the game in Autzen where people still didn't believe in Indiana, weren't they catching 9 or 10 in that outright 30-20 win?
That's where that number opened. You could have had 10 on the dog. It closed closer to a touchdown in that spot. And look, I think that was where Indiana announced that they were a legitimate threat to not only win the Big Ten, but maybe have a chance to win the national title. And they did it on defense that day at Autzen Stadium. We'll see. And it's kind of been their calling card. I know Fernando Mendoza came away with the Heisman Trophy, but defensively, I think that's where Alabama really ran into a brick wall. It allowed the offense to kind of operate with balance. And then, of course, the short field that was created with the curious, fake, decision to go for it on fourth down from Kalen DeBoer. So you've seen a major role reversal and power numbers completely shift on these two teams. And if I go back and look at my numbers coming into the year, Indiana, when the season started, I've upgraded them roughly two touchdowns from where they were before the season. Oregon, a much more modest upgrade of about 3.5, 4 points. So Oregon, would have been a 6.5 point favorite on a neutral week 1. And here we are with Indiana and Oregon both getting upgraded with their quarterfinal performances. I think this number is extremely fair in that 4.5 range, but I would anticipate public support for Indiana given the thrashing that we saw in the Rose Bowl against Bama.
All right, Furman, Dunaway's Buccaneers and Lance's Rams, they're over in the NFC in games that matter for seeding. I'm going to stick with the AFC since my Dolphins play there in games that don't matter for seeding, at least for my Dolphins. But the late game, how do you handicap this with Pittsburgh and Baltimore for a chance to go to the playoffs? Ravens minus 3.5 on the road in Pittsburgh.
These are the kind of games that it frustrates me a little bit that the betting market is much more sophisticated in 2026 than it would have been a decade ago. With Lamar Jackson getting upgraded in the middle of the week, I foolishly thought that this number could run a little bit further, and I'd be able to grab the Pittsburgh Steelers as a 4.5 point underdog. But credit to the odds makers, kind of opened this number, working under the assumption that Lamar was going to be the starting quarterback. 3.5 kind of the prevailing price tag, total down a touch from 43 to 41. Don't have a strong opinion in terms of who wins the game. I do hope for the sanity of my household, given my wife's Steeler allegiance, that Pittsburgh finds a way, because there were a lot of 4-letter words being thrown around by her and her family with that 6-point offensive outburst last Sunday against Cleveland, despite me holding a Browns ticket at plus 4.5, keeping my mouth shut. This total, guys, I think as it continues to come down would be the avenue that I'd look to explore, making a case for a contrarian over. Just given the fact that neither one of these defenses is anywhere close to an elite stop unit that we've grown accustomed to in the past. Look, I know the Steelers are down one key cog in DK Metcalf on the outside, no Darnell Washington with that broken arm, but I do think they're going to be a little bit more creative getting the ball to their backs in Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell that can create some problems. And for the Ravens on the other side, look, we saw what happens when you give the ball to Derrick Henry 25 to 30 times. I think they'll be able to run it against the Steelers, and it wouldn't shock me at all if it was 23-20 type final. So as this total continues to trend down, I'm going to take a good, long, hard look at trying to go over the total on Sunday Night Football.
Tampa Bay hasn't won since I was still eating leftover Thanksgiving, November 30th, their last win. Carolina, Tampa Bay in Tampa. Tampa's the favorite. But take it deep for me here, Furman. What are the odds Tampa can win this game and the Saints beat the Falcons so that the Buccaneers back their way into the playoffs? Because both things have to happen.
This Bucs team has been a real thorn in the side of bettors. You have to go all the way back to their Week 8 game before the bye, since the Bucs were able to cover a number and exceed odds makers' expectations. But here we are. Tampa's still having a chance to get into the college football, the NFL postseason, but needs a little bit more help because Lance's Rams did not exactly hold up their end of the bargain on Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons. So this is a number where the Bucs is essentially a 2-game parlay. You're betting them on the money line, and of course you're looking for the modest upset for the Saints, a job that'll get a little bit more difficult with Chris Olave being ruled out with the blood clot. So I think you get the Bucs' best effort, but it may not end up being enough. From a number standpoint here, Dunaway, look, the Bucs closed a full field goal favorite on the road against the Panthers just 2 weeks ago, and it was a game where they were bet out from 2.5 to 3. Now we have a little bit of a buy low opportunity with them playing at home, laying less than a field goal. So the only way from a side perspective I'd be able to look would be towards the Buccaneers laying that short number. I do think the total is a touch high, though. Baker Mayfield, as we know, hasn't exactly been decisive in the pocket. I still feel like we're going to get an NHL-style injury report, and Baker's going to need 6 surgeries after this year, and it'll explain his lackluster performance in the pocket. So I do think defense can rule the day. I look for Dave Canales to try and commit to running the ball against a Bucs run defense that hasn't been nearly as good as what we've grown accustomed to. And I think the big, long, hard look that Tampa's going to have to figure out this offseason, will they elect to bring Todd Bowles back if this team misses the playoffs, or maybe decide to go in a different direction?
So we've got a new favorite. You mentioned my Rams to win the Super Bowl. I guess Seattle is still a slight favorite. Big game Saturday night, Seattle and Santa Clara taking on San Francisco. Winner gets the 1 seed. And, pretty insane that San Fran can drop all the way from possibly a 1 to a 6. But if San Fran wins this game and gets home field, or do they become the favorite in Las Vegas to win the Super Bowl?
They do for me. There's not a game that'll impact odds to win the Super Bowl more this weekend than the showdown in the NFC we're going to see on Saturday night, given how dynamic this 49ers offense is and the ability for them to not leave Northern California between now and a potential run to the Lombardi Trophy. So when you look at the Niners, priced right around 10-1, 11, 12, depending on where you shop, that number gets cut in half if they're able to pull off that short upset against Seattle as a 1.5-point dog. You would see Seattle's number drift out from where they are listed right now as co-favorites alongside your Rams. So the definition of high leverage in terms of being able to change one team's path to the postseason. I look at the game, though, in general, and there's a reason that Seattle is a road favorite in this spot. The more complete football team right now, despite all of the shortcomings we've seen in Sam Darnold's game, they're going to provide a lot more resistance for this 49ers offensive attack than what we've seen in recent weeks. And on the flip side of things, this 49ers defense, look, credit Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan for what they've been able to do. They're just no difference makers on that stop unit. So can they force the turnover? Can they play that bend but don't break mentality? We'll see. But the angle that I took in this game, I actually went under the total at 48.5. Still have no problems going under 48. That's widely available because I think both of these offenses may try and lean into their ground game a bit. The 49ers trying to play keep away. And there's some real concerns about how that offensive line will hold up against the Seahawks, especially if Trent Williams is at all limited. So I think this is much more defensive-minded than what we've seen from the 49ers in recent weeks. And the Seahawks would be very comfortable going on the road, trying to lean into their defense more so than having Sam Darnold get involved in a track meet.
All right, he is Todd Fuhrman, at Todd Fuhrman on social media. CBS Sports is where you see him, former odds maker at Caesars Palace, and always kind with his time with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline. Fuhrman, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Hey, Dunaway, one final thing for you, since I like to bust your chops as much as anybody. Hopefully you hold it over the other two gentlemen's head that you went to an Alabama playoff game. They were able to erase a 17-point deficit, and you weren't on site for the worst loss we've seen for the Crimson Tide in the last 25-plus years.
Yeah, LT actually has mentioned several times he's been surprised that I did not make this trip and that I was not suffering, as I usually do, from FOMO. But when it was 17-0 at the half and the forecast that they had and the rain, I saw Brown's pregame walking with his boots on the juicy field, as he described it. And LT's about to tell us about the great Rose Bowl venue itself. I walked down at halftime. Maggie had a hot bowl of black-eyed peas and some fresh-made cornbread, and I said, I have never, ever, ever been more comfortable with the decision not to go somewhere in my life than I am right now. 17-0, me sitting at home with hot black-eyed peas and cornbread right here on New Year's Day. So
smart and strategic, my friend. You had a chance to attend the wedding. You let the other boys go out west to attend the funeral.
Well described, my friend. That's Todd Fuhrman. Thank you very much. LT, tell us about the Rose Bowl after you tell us about CPAP Plus, our friends at Sleep Home Alabama.
Yeah, Sleep Home Alabama, O'Neill Medical. They've got locations throughout the state, 5 total locations throughout the state. If you're running around Birmingham, location in Trussville, 1 in Pelham, Highway 280, right there in Inverness. Get in, see Joe O'Neill, Woody O'Neill, all the guys. Very important that you get the proper 8 hours of sleep. If you're struggling, if you're waking up, if you're tired the next day, you're not getting that proper sleep, you might have sleep apnea. Our friends at O'Neill Medical and CPAP Plus, they can help out. It's Birmingham's best CPAP and medical equipment. For more information, o'neillmed.com. That is ONEAL med.com.
And our friends at Central State Bank, Brownie. Tell us about Central State Bank.
That's the bank that is big enough to meet every single need you have, but they are also small enough to know you because they are a community bank and it is personal with them. They open not bank accounts, but relationships at Central State Bank. And listen, they know when you've got a kid in school how expensive that can be and how difficult it can be. As we go back to college and high school, college life can move fast. So if it's your first paycheck, your textbook hustle, your weekend road trip, Central State Bank is here to help that college student and back you up. Easy to use accounts, mobile banking, hometown service, even when they're out of town. They just simply make adulting easier at Central State Bank. Family owned, community focused, always in your corner. Central State Bank, member FDIC.
Now listen, this isn't the best game of the four for this was easily the Sugar Bowl, okay? But from a television perspective of which venue plays best on television, it's rose, sugar, orange, and cotton. But when you go to the game, it's probably cotton, sugar, orange, and rose, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the access of the fans and the better of the four stadiums. But as far as a television product, the Rose Bowl is number one. Even with crappy weather and a crappy game, it is just there's something about that venue, the sight lines, and of a TV broadcast and all of that. But you were in the stands as a fan again. You didn't have the media treatment with the I tell people all the time, I don't have to put up with the traffic. They have a road just for the media shuttle for me to shuttle in and shuttle out of the Rose Bowl. I have an elevator just for me at the Rose Bowl. I don't have to deal with it like the fans. You've done it again as a fan, LT, and according to your social media, it will be the last Rose Bowl you ever go to.
Yeah, and that's not an exaggeration. Like, I don't know a scenario that would put me back there.
Rams play the Super Bowl. It's
Yeah,
going to be there again.
I'd be back there for that. I mean, it would be something sensational that I just don't foresee happening. Look, I've been fortunate, like you guys, to be to a handful. I think this is my fourth one. It's a cool venue to see one time, but logistically it is an absolute nightmare. And look, we had a parking pass. We were supposed to be in Lot A, and Brown was like, we need to go 3 hours early because you remember how difficult it was to get into here. So we all agreed. We still, I would say, we're in traffic for an hour probably.
Yeah, we sat still for a good 20 minutes. Again, for those that don't know, the Rose Bowl is right in the middle of a neighborhood. It's 2-lane roads in, 2-lane roads out, and 100,000 people. So, I mean, you do the math there. You can't get people in and out.
But Dunaway, even at local time 10 a.m., 3 hours before kick, we still were bumper to bumper getting in. And so, one of my biggest problems is you have 364 days to get prepared for this event, and nobody's on the same page. And you've got all of these, I guess, volunteers. They get paid. I really don't know. But when you pull up and you're like, I'm in Lot A, you should be able to tell us exactly where to go. And the guy was so confident, go up and take a left at Rosemont.
That's right. So you're going to go up there and take a left on Rosemont, 100%.
Yeah, so we battle our way up to Rosemont. We take our left. We battle our way down, and we're turning into what we believe was Lot A. And the guy was like, oh, no, you got to go back the other way. And we're like, hell no, we ain't going the other way.
For my dad,
and he's like, fine, whatever you want to do, keep going then. And so we kept going, and then the next guy was like, you're going to have to turn around. It's way over there. And again, hell no. So Brown jumped out of the car, and I don't know how we finagled our way into, was it Lot D or B?
Yeah, for the record, I don't want to give what lot it was. But listen, a little Southern charm, Jim, goes a long way, right? Out on the West Coast.
Wait, a little Southern charm? Like, I thought you got out of the car. LT had a little Southern charm?
Or no. I got out of the car and negotiated our way into a parking space.
I was about to say, LT turned on the Southern charm would have been a bigger upset than Ole Miss over Georgia.
my boy here was running a little hot. So
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
I mean, it makes no sense, Dunaway. And then everybody, like that whole layout of the stadium where all the concessions are on the back end and you got to walk down and all the seats are tight, and it's just an absolute nightmare. So and it's a shithole. The venue is an absolute shithole.
And getting the fans getting in the stadium. So Dunaway, before kick, I went over and hung with Klatt and his family for a little bit. And you know the setup, Jim, but just for the fans, you go out the back of the press box and you're on the backside of the home side of the stadium, which is where Indiana's fans were sitting because that was their sideline. And I just looked out at the golf course where cars are parked, which blows me away too, on the golf course. And this is right as the anthem has just played or is about to play, and there is a sea of humanity, and it looks like they're going one person at a time through security.
Yeah.
And these are all Indiana fans. I mean, it's really, really difficult. Again, it's the weirdest thing. Like, the fan experience is awful. The stadium is old. It doesn't have the amenities. The concession lines are and bathroom lines, you miss a quarter if you try to do that.
Oh, and they were disgusting. There was piss everywhere.
I mean, it's just it's filthy. It's so many bad things I could say. The traffic is terrible, but I still say you need to do it once in your life. I will always say that, but Lance is not wrong. It is, and this is not like sour grape Alabama fans saying this. Indiana fans were complaining like,
oh, I left when it was 10-0. So
No, Indiana fans were still pissed about this.
No. In the area on the Goodyear blimp, because the weather broke like I thought it would, and the Goodyear blimp was able to take flight. They couldn't do the stealth bomber until halftime, the second half kickoff, but they got the blimp up. And after the national anthem, the blimp aerial, they were doing the aerial of the big flag and the national anthem and the fireworks, I was like, look at all the people still outside. I knew that was a live shot because they were playing the national anthem. And I was like, look at all the people still walking around outside of the stadium. So that's 100% of what you're talking about. It's a 100% true statement as the national anthem was playing. Listen, I don't blame LT running hot in that situation. The last round of golf I played, I hate when strangers watch me hit a tee shot, Brownie. I'm on a par 3, and I'm leading off our group, and I see the ranger talking to the group up front, and he starts driving up. And so I'm going to wait for him to drive past my group, and he stops, and I say, hey, you can go on through. He's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, no, man, go on through. And he says, no, I'm good. And he sits there and he watches us hit our tee shots, and I walk over as I get back in my car, and he's parked right beside me. I said, hey, man, thanks for spending time with us. It meant a lot to me.
So done way.
And we ride down, and they were like, goodness gracious, you could not be more passive aggressive. And I was like, I gave the guy 3 chances to go on. It was obvious I didn't want him to sit there and watch me jerk my tee shot into the creek. Yeah.
So, and if you have a battle with humanity, like whether or not you really like people, you go to a small Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And this guy brought a kid with him in front of us. And the kid had dirty-ass shoes, which most people did.
Yeah, it was mud everywhere.
So, I'm going to tell my kid, okay, if you're going to stand up, you're going to stand in your seat, and you're going to dirty your seat. He was standing on the seat in front of him.
No.
Where somebody else was standing up. Oh, and they had dirt, all over it, and, they weren't noticing this, and it's all I could keep my eyes on. Out in the parking lot, I told Brown if my identity was going to get stolen, you had a bunch of people rolling around coolers, and they were selling beers out of coolers. So I would get me a 20-ounce Bud Light, and they were only $10, and inside the venue they're like 20. So it's a pretty good deal, but I was like, damn, I don't have a lot of cash on me. And the guy's like, no problem, pulls out his phone, and he's got the credit card app on the phone. So I ended up buying 3 beers in the parking lot on different people's phones. So my identity's probably all over Southern California.
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait till you get the Shunnarah. Hey, if your identity was stolen at the Rose Bowl, call Alexander Shunnarah.
Hey, but, there were a lot of people, like I saw on X yesterday, that missed, the entire first quarter.
That's what I'm saying. Getting through security looked like a complete disaster. I mean, if you're going to go to this game, my best advice, if you ever want to go to Rose Bowl, get there as early as possible. Just maybe even go to the parade and just stay for the game.
But they do such a shitty job out in the park. There's nothing out there. There's no concessions or merchandise. They were letting people fire off random fireworks at tailgates.
They were.
And we were going to the bathroom, and the first one that exploded, it was 2 hours before game time, and it came from a location in the parking lot where you're like, holy hell, did somebody just fire a gun?
Jim, the fireworks were so big, and I'm assuming these were Indiana fans. I mean, that was the majority of the crowd. Yeah. I thought they had accidentally set off some halftime or post-game pyrotechnics. That's how big these fireworks were, and they were just outside the stadium. You could see them over the rim. And they didn't just do it once. They did it 5 or 6 times, to the point that I quit jumping because I got so used to it.
Yeah, but nobody was telling, security was walking past it and didn't care.
It was wild.
Yeah. You guys go, Indiana, once in a lifetime. Fire those fireworks. Fire them off. Scan those credit cards on some stranger's phones. Y'all have a day out there.
Now, Dunaway, did they talk on the broadcast about the bison, the horn hats, and bringing back the bison mascot?
I did see it was a bison mascot, and they showed it a couple of times with the cheerleaders, and I did not know That was the first time I'd ever seen that, and I was like, I thought to myself, have I just missed? Is it Indiana football only? Have I missed that in Indiana basketball? I started thinking to myself, does Indiana have a mascot? Have they ever had anything on the sidelines in basketball? So I was running all those scenarios in my head. I didn't know it existed. LT, tell me the story.
Yeah, so I was in line with Indiana fans trying to get into the venue, and so I had plenty of time to talk, and I just tapped the guy on his shoulder. He was wearing the Bison hat, and I'm like, hey, why am I seeing these? And he's like, we brought the mascot back. It was an official mascot back in the 50s, I think, and it scared kids really bad. And so they pulled it, and now they've brought it back. And I'm like, it's a weird time in 2026 to bring it back, considering how soft everything is.
They're not tougher now than they were in the 50s.
Yeah, but how soft are our
saw
kids?
The Halloween costumes back then.
What?
Yeah, how soft were our kids in the 50s? I guess we didn't have all the stuff they watch online or on television.
I guess
because
not.
that Bison, it wasn't that scary, I'll tell you.
No, that's what I was like, damn, I've never really thought a bison was scary, but there were a lot of people that had those hats on, a lot of T-shirts with bisons on them with Indiana, and I never knew that. And I still, asking a million Indiana fans, I cannot get one straight answer on what a Hoosier is.
I know what they like to say, though, the Hoosiers. They do that cheer nonstop.
I will tell you, the Clemson crackhead Tiger scares me a lot more than that Bison scares me.
Yes, absolutely.
He just looked like some guy that was at an armory party, a Legion armory party with the local Kiwanis or something. All right.
Isn't it crazy real quick that our national champion, if it's not Miami, is going to be a team that, you can look
really
at Ole Miss from the 60s, but Oregon, Indiana, Ole Miss, that's crazy.
That's next on my sheet here because I'll get you guys to rank the teams, and then we'll talk about that because it's either first-time national champion Indiana, first-time national champion Oregon. Ole Miss has never won an outright national champion, and Miami hasn't won one since 2001. We'll talk more about that. And who was more disappointing, Ohio State, Georgia, or Alabama in your eyes? That's in our next segment. 4 downs still to go. More from the Bama locker room. Show being brought to you by our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher, LT.
Yeah, one-stop dinner shop. If you're looking for a big weekend of steaks, pick them up at the New York Butcher Shop. We actually had some steaks here this week, and Brown did a really good job cooking them.
Thank you.
And it was Wagyu, but it just wasn't the same. I'm just telling you, there is the quality that is the New York Butcher Shop. Get in, see Jim and that great staff of butchers. Fantastic side dishes made in-house fresh every single day. Also a great selection of the fine wines and desserts. Rare quality, well-done service. 2 locations, Cava Heights and Highway 119 in Greystone. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
And our wonderful friends at Walk-Ons, great locations at Stadium Trace, Trustful, and Greystone, where it's always game on at Walk-Ons. Whether it's a post-win celebration, drinks after work, or taking the family for some made-from-scratch favorites, Walk-Ons is your go-to for good times with wall-to-wall TVs, craft beer, and cocktails, and bold flavors for fans of all ages, from the melty mozzarella logs to the Hall of Fame level burgers. Stop by today or order online in the Walk-Ons app. Walk-On Sports Bistro, Trustville, Greystone, and Stadium Trace. Game on with Walk-Ons.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Oh, watch out, lady. What are you doing? Oh, wait. Come on, man. Shouty just destroyed my whip.
Say, little man, you need to call Alexander Shunnarah, man.
What the hell? Yeah, Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney. I heard they get you paid quick, fast, and in a hurry. With 500 attorneys. And staff holding it down for clients they've represented in 50 states. 659-777-7777. Or Shunnarah.com. Alexander Shunnarah trial attorney suing the insurance company, not the individual. Call me, Alabama. Legal service provided. Or any other provider.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
If you're wondering, Miami and Ole Miss is Thursday night in the Fiesta Bowl. Oregon and Indiana Friday night in the Peach Bowl, both of those in prime time. Those are the 4 teams left, as you see our graphic there, as we're down to the final 4 teams. More on that in just a second. Here's more Kalen DeBoer postgame. Cut number 2 here, guys. This is DeBoer talking about the fine line between Alabama and greatness.
I know, because I've been doing this long enough and I have experiences that I can fall back on, that the fine line between what we had out there today and being at the very top is such a fine line, you got to go back to starting over from scratch with putting the people around you, the right people, committing to something, a common goal together, and the actions following it. And so it's such a fine line. It may not feel like it when you're in this moment right now and what happened today, but I can tell you it's a fine line between being here and being at the top. But we got to do the work. We got to put the work in. You got to believe. You got to be consistent. You got to have discipline, and we'll get back to work and start all over again.
It is Courtney Morgan time, though. Courtney Morgan, Kalen DeBoer, and that staff. Portal opened today, 10 hours, 42 minutes, 43 minutes on the dot right now. And I don't know if any Alabama or which Alabama players will hit the portal, but Alabama and Kalen DeBoer guys have had 2 really good recruiting classes. So they've got some young talent there. And you've got some stars that are coming back, and I know Proctor likely is going to leave early. Ty Simpson will make a decision. Obviously, there'll be some other guys who are making some choices. But don't you feel like Alabama's got a shot in some big positions for in in this portal? Maybe unlike any it's ever had to do in the portal before?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 4 teams left and what they were able to do in the portal.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana has obviously lived with what they brought in with JMU players, but, watching Ole Miss and, Trinidad Chambliss is easy to pull out, and a guy that came from Ferris State. But, Oregon, all of these teams, Miami, pivotal guys that you've gone out and been able to get in the portal. And that's just, college football now. Like, you've got to be able to execute properly in the portal.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Jim, I think you're going to have to talk about receiver. Like, I know they've recruited well, but
by the way, on receiver, where was Lottie Brooks?
I know it's the most puzzling thing. Like, all of a sudden, Dunaway Ryan Williams played well, right?
Well, I mean, as good as any other receiver did. He made one unbelievably tough catch and took a hit afterwards. Yeah.
But I had 6 grabs. But I thought Brooks was going to be a big part of this game.
I did too. He was so big in Oklahoma, and Indiana took him away. But Jeremy Bernard is going to be gone. We'll see about Isaiah Horton. You like Brooks, you like some of the recruits, but there's some good receivers in the portal. I saw the report today that I think Pete Nakos of On3 reporting that Cam Coleman and Texas are deep in negotiations. The way the report made it sound is like it was pretty close, though that's not the way Pete exactly said it. But I think you may have to look at receiver to get some veteran depth there.
And we've heard that Cam Coleman number.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Maybe not as big as some have said privately, but still a pretty big number.
Can you share the number?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've heard the number is $3 million.
Yeah, I think 3's wide. I had initially heard 4. I brought that up to you the other day, Dunaway, when Lance was traveling on Tuesday. That was the day after he hit the portal. That he wanted 4. But Lance and I heard from a very good source that 3 was the number.
Yeah,
that he is trying to get.
Well, that's Texas and $3 million for a wide receiver that could be a first-round pick. If Drew Mestemaker can go from North Texas to Oklahoma State for $3.5 million, which is the report on what he's doing, making him the second highest-paid quarterback in the NIL era behind Carson Beck, $4.3 million. If he can get $3.5 million, why do you ever go to the NFL? I don't. I mean,
exactly.
These guys, Brock Purdy. It took Brock Purdy forever to make this kind of money.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, to your point, Quinn Ewers is going to start for the Dolphins for the 3rd time Saturday. He's not making anywhere close to that.
No,
or Sunday, excuse me. He's not. Yeah,
Diego Pavi would love to play the next 10 years in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Jim. Like, if I'm Drew Mestemaker, $3.5 million. The odds tell you that's more than you'll ever make in the NFL.
So does that number not surprise you, Dunaway? $3 million, if that is the number for Cam Coleman, and is that a digestible number?
Well, I just don't understand what that whole $24 million salary cap we discussed. I mean, you can't pay one wide receiver $3 million and then pay the rest of the team. So obviously, there's no limit, and so you're going to pay whatever you pay. As it's hard to say this, but give me a team and not the superstars, because look at Alabama. Alabama had a good year, not a great year. It was a good year. They won a playoff game. They were in the Final 8. They were in the SEC champion. They won 11 games. A lot of teams would love Alabama's year, right? A lot of programs would love Alabama. A lot of people who are chirping on social media, you would love your team to have had Alabama's year. I'm looking at you Auburn fans. I'm looking at Matt Moscano at LSU, the media guy down there. All those guys, you would have loved to have Alabama's year. You can chirp all you want. But you look at Indiana and you go, man, there's something fresh about Indiana and how they all work as a team. Give me less superstar, more team. I don't know how you do that. It's easy to take the 5-star and pay the money, but man, somehow if you can get 48 guys who want to work together, that's a lot more enjoyable. I don't know if you can even do that anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think the question still remains, Jim. The great test for Texas Tech was, can you buy your way into a national championship at any program in college football? And we still don't know that. I mean, they were not particularly close yesterday. No. I mean, they're still a long way from a national championship and have spent a bundle of money.
Oh, but they got their money's worth, though, right? I mean, they won the Big 12. They are a player in college football. And
but that wasn't the goal.
And their defense, though, I mean, their offense lost that football game. So pay a little bit more on offense.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to have to do. I mean, the offense looked broken, and kind of had a feeling with how much Dan Lanning heard how his defense leaked against James Madison.
Boy, they did not yesterday.
Yeah, they had a point to prove, and that was a Texas Tech offense that had gone 40-plus in 8 games this season, so they completely shut them down. So I do think Cody Campbell, the big billion-dollar booster, former Texas Tech player, will be throwing some money towards that offense.
Okay, a lot more to get to in the final few minutes of the show today, being brought to you by our friends at Fractional Financing, LT.
Yeah, let me tell you about fractional financing. If you've got a small to mid-sized business right there in Alabama, Georgia, East Tennessee, or the Carolinas, you're looking for that CFO service designed for businesses that need expertise, call our friend Rod Smallwood at Fractional Financial. Rod and his team provide expertise in cash management, budgets and projections, accounting, payroll, annual reports. Fractional Financial does it all. Not your typical contract CFO service. Fractional Financial works with clients face-to-face so they can make those informed, data-driven decisions to get their business to the next level. Contact them today, 704-614-2083. That is 704-614-2083, or visit them online, fractionalfinancial.net.
And when it comes time to update that room in your home that you've always wanted updated, for us, the Brown family, it was the master bath. And when it came time to do that, my wife scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job, and she found Brad Bell. I'm glad she did after talking to a ton of contractors and people that use certain contractors, getting some people to come out and look. We were just comfortable with Brad and his crew, and they did tremendous work on our master bath. Now, what he specializes in is master bathrooms, kitchens, and master bedrooms, bedroom closets. It's not to say that's all Brad does, but it is Brad's specialty. And the reason that matters is you spend a lot of time in those rooms when you own your home, and when you go to sell your home, you can make some of your money back when you spend money on those rooms, because they really, really pop when people come and look at your home. So if you want Brad to come out and look at your job, you got a couple of options. Go online and see more before and afters, and find the contact at alabamabathremodels.com. alabamabathremodels.com, or 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758, or alabamabathremodels.com. Hit that spotlight, Tyler.
The College Football Spotlight.
It's the Shunnarah Spotlight, presented each day by Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. College Football Spotlight. We do it 24/7, 365 on this show. Shunnarah.com. Shunnarah.com. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys are there to help. And they've recovered more than $2 billion. That's billion with a B. $2 billion for their clients with Shunnarah. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. More than 150 attorneys, more than 500 team members there at Shunnarah.com. And he did that because he loves the city of Birmingham. It's where he's born, it's where he's lived his whole life, and he wanted to help the city of Birmingham. You find yourself in need of an attorney, Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com.
I think the right order is you can't see the forest for the trees. Is that the right order of that old saying?
That is correct.
It's not the trees for the forest, whatever.
Yeah, no, you're so focused on one thing you can't see the whole.
Okay,
yeah.
So I know Alabama's implosion in the Rose Bowl here locally is such a big story. But if I ask you, of all the losers in these quarterfinal games, which was the biggest disappointment, Ohio State, Alabama, or Georgia, LTU first?
I'm going to say Georgia, just based on the fact that this is back-to-back years they've gotten a bye-in, back-to-back years they've lost.
They haven't won a playoff game since 2022.
Yeah, since playing here in L.A. at SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So, I mean, I'm sure Ryan Day detractors, if there's still some of those guys out there, might be bitching about them losing as a double-digit favorite, basically by double digits to Miami. But for me, it would be Georgia.
I can make an argument for Georgia, Jim, because Kirby Smart knew that they were going to be playing Ole Miss for how long? I guess, the
month.
A month. You had a month to get ready for that game. Like, I'll at least say Ryan Day only had 12 days to get ready for Miami. Neither one of them got ready. But you had a month knowing you were going to play Ole Miss. And
they're just trying to keep a staff together.
Yeah, and you're playing against a makeshift staff, a brand new head coach that's never been a coach. I mean, that everything was going against Ole Miss, and they find a way to win that game.
And remember this, guys like Clapp, when we were like, what do you think the most unlikely upset is? He started with Ole Miss.
Yeah.
He was like, I feel the most confident about Georgia moving forward.
You'd already beaten them once. But I mean, that stat, Jim, that Georgia has not won a college football playoff game since 2022. I mean, we're starting to stack up disappointing playoff appearances by the best coach in the game. I'm not going to argue Kirby's still the best coach in the game, but we're starting now to stack disappointing playoff performances on top of one another for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, 23 not in it. One loss and done in 2024 and in 2025. And listen, I'm old enough to know this, and I've been on Twitter since 2009 when it started. I'm old enough to know this, that you never jump in and swim with the zealots after an Alabama loss. But trying to defend Kalen DeBoer last night was a fool's errand. Now, had I had a cocktail? Yes. But was I having fun on social media? Yes. But Kalen DeBoer is in the second year at Alabama, replacing the greatest of all time. Kirby Smart is considered to be the greatest coach coaching right now. And Alabama and Georgia don't look that much different. And Kalen DeBoer's beaten him 2 out of 3 games.
I had this is somebody I've known my whole life, massive Alabama fan. And I'm going to just go and tell you, not the biggest DeBoer fan. Texted me during the Bama game and said, Kirk Cignetti is the best football coach in America, and I don't think it's close. And my response was, did I miss Kirby Smart dying? And he wrote back, he said, I am not forgetting Kirby Smart. I think Cignetti's a better coach than Kirby Smart.
Well, I've got a similar question in 4 downs coming.
Okay, well, then we won't step on that. But Dunaway, to your point, I mean, I still think Kirby's the best doing it. But we did this with Nick Saban, right? When they wouldn't win a national championship for 2 or 3 years, we would just start talking about, look, he's raised the bar so high, you got to say it's disappointing. Kirby's raised the bar so high, these last 3 years have been disappointing.
Yeah, and I kind of said the same thing to an Alabama fan last night that I was talking to. I was like, this is Nick Saban 2.0. And he's like, are you kidding? After only 2 years? And I'm like, 2 years? They've won 27 games in these 2 years.
You're talking about Cignetti now.
Okay, Cignetti, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a complete weirdo, but that dude, my God.
But I mean, Kirby, Jim, he's just starting to stack disappointing years. When you've set the bar that high and you don't win a playoff game, that's a disappointing season.
It's easy to say this now, but I remember it when it happened in real time. Because you know me, I worry about everything, and I wanted Alabama to be so great for so long. I remember when Kirk Cignetti left Tuscaloosa, because his role in Tuscaloosa was evaluating talent and was recruiting coordinator. And he's the guy that was sort of heading up recruiting as Nick Saban built the dynasty in Tuscaloosa. And I remember when he was leaving, I was like, oh, God, man, what's Saban going to do now? Is it going to fall off? And obviously it didn't, and Saban was okay. He found other people, and he was pretty good at evaluating talent too. Cignetti's a great coach. Ohio State is my answer, though, to this. I mean, you're better. You lost 14 draft picks, and you're better than you were last year at a lot of positions except offensive line, and that's where they got their lunch ate in that game. Miami ate their lunch in the offensive line.
He's trouble. I mean, that guy is a handful, and Ohio State never figured out how to block him all night long.
No, not at all. And, when it was 14-0 at half, the problem was going to be, and I give Ohio State credit because they were able to, make some adjustments and came back. And for a minute, you were like, Ohio State's going to be able to figure this thing out. But that offensive line against that front, I mean, there was nothing they could really do.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, Jim, they just we were sitting right here watching that game, and everybody watching the game was like, this is just astounding to watch what Ruben Bain is doing to this Ohio State offensive front. They could not block him.
And Messador, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave him out, but Bain was the one that really stood out.
It was amazing. And then the play by Keontae Scott. Here's Keontae on what he saw on that pick six that changed the face of that game.
The pick six, was that something that you saw on film? Was it just that Jeremiah Smith missed a block? Can you walk us through that play?
Yeah, it was on film for sure. But I think in the moment, with all the skill players on one side of the ball, so obviously knew the ball was coming in that area. And then as soon as the tight end, motion, I kind of confirmed in my head that I was made up in my mind that I was going at that moment. Shot my shot, and the ball went in my hands. But that goes back to just trusting my brothers behind me, trusting my brothers to be able to, play fast. And that goes to Coach Heatherman too, just allowing us to be able to play fast and play at a high level and play fast, just because we know everybody's swarming to the ball, which is one of our, principles and one of the things that we, stand on. So me just knowing that everybody's swarming behind me being able to play fast and take a shot.
I'm watching the game with my Auburn friends. Keontae Scott, one-time Auburn player, got on the wrong side with Hugh Freeze because, according to my Auburn friends, and they know better than me, that Keontae thought he was being played out of position at Auburn, went to Hugh Freeze, and Hugh put him there, and he got burned a couple of times, and then Hugh sort of said, "I told you so," and didn't play him as much, and Keontae went out the door. That was a big play. By the way, other Auburn players who had great years, you look at Texas Tech, I think Lee Hunter and Romello Heights are former Auburn players too. Is that what you're giving me a thumbs up on that? I mean,
yeah, I brought this up in the car yesterday on the way to the Rose Bowl, was because we were watching.
Both those guys were making plays.
Yeah, we were watching the Texas Tech Oregon game, and I brought up the fact that both Hunter and Height played at Auburn, and then you throw in Scott. I mean, hell, you could have fielded a whole defense on this college football playoff, former Auburn player.
I know. So it's not like talent hadn't run through Auburn in these last 4 years. They've run through and out the door. And you guys were talking about the $3 million wide receiver as well. All right, portal's open. We've got one more hour to get to, including 4 downs and some more reaction from those games yesterday and a couple of more big questions about what we're seeing, including the changing of the guard. An amazing stat about this Final Four of college football. Show being brought to you by 2 great sponsors. One of them is our great friends at Company Distilling. LT, tell us about Company Distilling.
Yeah, people have been waiting to try a whiskey as good as the company you keep. Now is your opportunity. I've got both the maple and the apple at the house. Fantastic product. Haven't seen it yet on the West Coast, but it's starting to creep across America. You got it available in Colorado. It's available in South Carolina, Florida, of course, our great state of Alabama. Ask for it by name if they don't have it. Tell them to get it. Jeff Arnett is the master distiller behind this great product. For more information, scan that QR code or go online, companydistilling.com/Alabama.
And if you're looking for a great lunch or dinner, our friends at Bojangles can take care of you there, or breakfast on the way to work in the morning. And when school starts back, go get that Bowberry biscuit. Put that Cajun chicken filet in between those 2 slices of biscuit and get them to drizzle that icing over it, and you will say, "Thank you, Brown." That is a great way to start your day. And if you still got some watch parties for the college football games, perhaps your team is no longer there and you just want to watch it at home, Bojangles could take care of you there with those great fried chicken, the great chicken tenders, the Bo Bites that you can dip in that peach honey pepper sauce, all the great biscuits and sides and tea, all right there at Bojangles. So whether it is breakfast, lunch, dinner, or just watching football at home, you can always make it Bo time.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
We interrupt this program for breaking news from the gators of the litigation situation. Insurance companies have a playbook. I repeat, insurance companies have a playbook. Deny, delay, defend. They know which law firms will fold and settle cheap. They are not on your side. That's corporate greed at work. At Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, we fight back. We have the resources, the muscle, and the will to take them on. And you don't pay a dime unless we win. They fight dirty. We fight hard. Call 659-777-7777 or hit up alexwins.law.
Physical office location, Birmingham.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA-certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
You know, I get a little particular about the way I like things. You guys know this. I don't understand. This is now 2 times in the playoffs that Laura Rutledge has had to do a sideline interview and then sprint somewhere to make it to the staging for the halftime report. Like she anchors the halftime report. I love that she's willing to do both jobs, sideline reporter and host the halftime show. Can we not do a better job of putting the stage closer to where Laura is going to be doing the halftime interview? I mean, ESPN sort of controls all of this, right? Why at Oklahoma is she on one side of the field doing an interview with Venables going in, and then she's got to run across the end zone up into the stands to get to her place to do the halftime? And then last night at the Superdome, she's on the far sidelines, other end of the field tunnel, has to run 120 yards through the band to get to the halftime report on there. Glad she's in great shape. Can ESPN just not do her a solid and put the stage closer to where she's going to be doing that halftime interview? It seems like a simple solution to me.
Yeah, it would make sense. Or to have a little golf cart or something you could fly her over there.
Yeah, really, do something. Was she the only? She wasn't the only sideline reporter last night, was she?
No,
Don't
but
they have 2?
Yeah, but her team that she was assigned to at Oklahoma happened to be the other locker room away from the stage, and now last night the other locker room away from the stage at the other end of the field. I mean, it's just. I mean, I know Roman and Tebow and Jordan. They're athletes, man. They probably could do it standing up near Laura. We don't have to sit down behind the stage. Just do it on a stand up down there by her. It's a lot of running for Laura Rutledge there. She does a wonderful job.
Yeah, she does a very good job. Fitzy introduced me to Chris Budden. You've seen her, right? Yeah. From ESPN, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen your guys' show. You're the one where Joel Klatt was talking about the college basketball tournament. That was us. Yeah, that was us. Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to her occasionally on Sirius XM when I leave the studio, and her and Nicole Auerbach are on it together a lot, and they were not fans of Joel Klatt's comment.
Yep. She did not appear to be. Very nice girl, though. I liked it, Chris.
Hey, speaking of stages, when they had to put 1 second back on the clock last night,
twice,
and they're rolling the stage off, and they roll it just off in the Sugar Bowl, like 5 feet. Like if there's a big play and somebody rolls into that stage or something, like that there was so much chaos at the end of that game.
I don't know, man. The thing, some of the rules we have, like how I hate the touchback rule, but if I kick the ball off and you catch it standing up, the clock starts. But if you catch it on the ground, the clock doesn't start. Is that the way you understood the rule at the end there, Jim?
Yeah. It's not Steve Austin. That was the $6 million man. It's Matt Austin. Matt Austin.
Yeah. And he referenced the kick six when Sean McDonough's like, do we really need to put a second back? Because, well, as it turns out, I was in a pretty popular situation.
That's right. And it's a great point. And there was a second when it hit the pylon. And it was a second, when you're falling on it. I mean, you can't start the clock. He's down already, Brown. So I understand Pete Golding being upset, but it is the rules, and you have to play it by the rules now.
I love McDonough's like, can't we just have some common sense here? This game is over.
That's right. Pete Golding was so pissed.
Yeah, Golding was pissed. I don't blame him.
I know, but I mean, we literally watched the documentary of the Kentucky coach already dumped in Gatorade. That's all I was thinking about is, oh my God, if this Hail Mary thing works, he's already got the Gatorade on him, or the Powerade, whatever it was.
Yeah. They run that last play, and you got Gatorade and ice all over the field.
Yep.
You got confetti in each end zone. I mean, I'm like, this is going to be.
And you've got the stage, as LT said, 2 feet off the sideline.
I know.
I had some friends, though, that grabbed Georgia plus 3.5 when they were down 10. And so that lateral beat them on that safety.
Oh, the one that hit the pylon? Yeah. Oh, what a bad beat that
is. Yeah, they lost by 5.
What a bad beat.
Yeah, I got screenshots sent to me. What in the hell just happened?
Yeah. That's the worst case scenario for gamblers when you get into that throw around situation. I have found someone who's worse at having a feel for a game more than me, and that's our friend Bo up here. As I was leaving on December 31st after the show, he's like, I don't know why. I feel really confident about Alabama. And I was like, I don't have that same feel. They may win, but
boy, I'm telling you, most Alabama fans I talked to felt really good about that game.
Did you hear what Saban said on Game Day, Dunaway? I don't know if you were watching.
Oh yeah, I watched it. He said, I feel like they got their swagger back or something.
Yeah, well, no. He was talking about how I go play golf with my guys. He goes, I watch this Indiana team and see how good they are. I go play golf with my buddies back in Alabama, and they're like, we ought to kick the crap out of Indiana. And he's like, I try to tell these guys this is a good football team.
Yeah, but when he picked the game, he was like, I think Alabama in those final 3 quarters got their swagger back, and I think they found something. Give me Alabama.
What did most people pick on that game?
McAfee's the only one that picked Indiana. Herb Street didn't pick, and Saban and Desmond went with Alabama. But McAfee went Hoosiers.
Yeah,
This hour of the show, this hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's world famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling open for the day, and he's ready to welcome you into his friendly confines in 2026, right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by there. Sterling's been there for over a decade at that same location. Brined overnight, cooked to order, hand-cut chicken fingers. Tyler and I were talking about this after our last show about how huge the chicken fingers are, because they're hand-cut, hand-breaded. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, all the great bone-in fried chicken. It's wonderful. Champy'sChicken.com. And also our friends at Gutter Cap, LT.
Cap it, don't snap it. Call Chris Stewart today. We'll come out and give you an absolutely free estimate. Make 2026 the year you don't do the dangerous jobs around the house. Imagine you get the ladder out, you get on that roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Gutter Cap is a patented aluminum cover system. It fits over most existing gutters. It will only allow rainwater into the gutters. Again, cap it, don't snap it. Ask about the big-time next round deal that he will give you. Again, free estimate, 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
LT, I want to do 4 downs here now so I don't step on any of your questions, because I feel like we're about to the things on my sheet feel like they're about to be part of your 4 downs here. So let's do 4 downs, and then I'll backfill in anything we don't get to in the 4 downs. And we always start with first down, Tyler.
First down.
College football playoff appearance first. Kyle Whittingham at Michigan or John Summerall at Florida?
I'm going to go with Kyle Whittingham at Michigan LT. And here's why. I think we're going to get a big backlash of Greg Sankey pumping the SEC for 5, could be 7 worthy bids is what he had said going into this one, doing what an SEC commissioner is supposed to be doing, fighting for his league. But as we sit down this month to figure out the future of the playoffs, 16 teams seems likely. I don't know if it'll be more, where we play them, all that'll get worked out. But in the process, I think the Big Ten is going to have a little bit of the public perception of being at least equal to the SEC. And I think it's still not as deep as the SEC. And I think Michigan is closer to being into that bid range than Florida is right now. So I think Whittingham gets them there sooner than Summerall.
I guess, and I'm just going to start talking about this out loud, and I may prove my thought wrong here by doing this, but I'm just looking in the 12-team playoff era. We've had from the SEC, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Who am I missing?
Oklahoma.
An obvious one? No. Oklahoma at 6 in the playoffs. Texas, that's 7.
Yep.
7 out of 16. We've done this for 2 years now, and 7 out of 16 teams have been playoff teams from the SEC already. And when I do the Big Ten, I've got.
Well, and guess what? They haven't played well.
Well, but you're just talking about. I'm talking about getting there. Though.
Yeah.
I'm talking about getting there, getting through your conference, getting there. And in the Big Ten, help me, Jim. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon,
Penn State, Michigan.
Have they been in the 12 team?
Nope.
No, they haven't been in the 12
okay.
team. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my point. You see, I mean, it has proven that it's more difficult to get through the SEC. That's why I think I would go Kyle Whittingham.
I would go Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. Back to your point, though, Dunaway, I think outside of SEC fans, I think the gap has closed. I mean, I think the Big Ten's right there with the SEC.
Oh, I agree 100% in the top of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten's going to win a national championship again.
Yeah.
The winner of that Oregon-Indiana game is going to win the national championship.
You really believe that?
Oh, yeah.
What if it's Ole Miss? What if Pete Golding?
I mean, I hope it is Ole Miss.
Pete Golding wins one before Lane even coaches a game at LSU. That'd be amazing.
You guys, it was such a small snippet right before kickoff. There's no way I think either one of you saw it, but they did. I don't know this to be 100% fact, but you know how sometimes just filling time, they'll take a package they played earlier in the year and they'll play it again right before kickoff as they're filling time. Yeah. I think the Trinidad Chambliss story of Ferris State, I think it was a Ryan McGee story from Ferris State to Ole Miss. It felt like they probably played that Ole Miss, Georgia the first time. And where all of Kiffin's sound bites about Trinidad Chambliss, it was a new interview with Pete Golding was edited in there, it felt like. And one of his quotes was, and this is no joke, this was a quote, Trinidad Chambliss is just such a down-to-earth guy. Golding, this is a quote. Golding says, he's the kind of guy you want to go have a beer with. And I've never seen a college coach say that about his quarterback. He's the kind of guy you want to go have a beer with.
It is my great fear is that they're going to try to clean up Pete Golding, and I hope they don't.
Just don't allow it. Just be your own.
I hope Pete never changes. I hope he is Pete Golding
guys,
for as long as he can be.
There's no way you can clean him up based on the fact that you let Lane Kiffin act like a child the entire time.
I know.
I know you were back in time to see it. I don't know if you were out of the stadium yet, Brownie, on SVP's postgame, but they showed in the locker roroom. And he even said, hey, We've got Ole Miss locker room. We're going to have to do it after the commercial break because they're still beeping Pete Golding out. And the number of beeps in his postgame was unbelievable as he was addressing the team. It's hilarious.
I hope he never changes.
Yeah. And it's the guy we saw when we coached that crimson and white game.
Yep, he's the same guy.
Yeah, unbelievable. Second down.
10-win season again first. Alabama or Indiana?
I mean, again, Jim, Indiana's going portaling. I saw Thamel on game day yesterday say Josh Hoover and Indiana look like they are getting potentially close to a deal. I believe that was Thamel's report. And let me tell you this. You did the list the other day. Scott had a graphic, or Brooks, whoever, we had a graphic up. And I said, Josh Hoover's my guy. I think they had him fourth. Whoever's doing the ranking, I think it was on 3, had him fourth. You put Josh Hoover in Indiana, they're right back in the playoffs again. So I'll take Indiana.
So to 10 wins, there are a lot more easier wins. And Kirby said this afterwards, and he's exactly right. He goes, I felt like that game we just played was every SEC game we played this year. And if you watch SEC football every week, everyone's saying, man, what a great game that Sugar Bowl was. Well, that's almost every Saturday in the SEC. And it's not that way in the Big Ten. And I know the Big Ten is better. And at the top half, it may be better than the SEC right now. But the depth isn't the same. It's not. And Indiana's 10 wins is easier than Alabama's 10 wins, especially with Alabama going to 9 SEC games.
Yeah,
but I can't say it, LT. I'm gonna. Indiana was 27th in our 40 and 40 rankings this year, voted on by the greatest listeners in the world. 27th is where they were, one spot behind Auburn at 26 in our preseason ranking. So we've got to wear that one, but I'm gonna say Alabama gets 10 wins before Indiana gets it again.
I think actually both will get it next year. I don't think Indiana's going anywhere. I really don't. I think he's that good of a coach, and they're never going to schedule out of conference. They're not going to do difficult out of conference scheduling.
No, that's right.
And back to your 9-game SEC point, it's just going to get more difficult.
Third down.
Indiana or the field?
Take the field still. I mean, you got to beat Oregon for a second time. We've seen how difficult it is just last night to beat a team for the second time. I know we're going to keep discounting this Miami team because they don't win pretty, but that front is a problem. Indiana may have a good offensive line. They are not blocking Bain and Mesidor if they have to play them. I think it's a problem for Ole Miss too. And there's just something about this Ole Miss team. I think Trinidad Chambliss is playing such elite level football. I cannot discount this Ole Miss team, so I'd still take the field.
But see, here's one of my topics, LT, that fits here perfectly. Of the 4 quarterback performances we got yesterday and New Year's Eve with Carson Beck, who's more likely to repeat that in the quarterfinals in the national championship? Is it Mendoza or is it Trinidad Chambliss? Is it Dante Moore? Is it Carson Beck? Chambliss was better than Fernando Mendoza yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, but Mendoza didn't have to be. I mean, Mendoza played perfectly.
That's fair. And Mendoza, unbelievably, against Alabama, didn't have to do much.
But see, that's my point is I believe Mendoza can do it again 2 more times. I don't know if Chambliss can do what he did last night because it was so walking on the edge of the cliff on some of those plays. I'm going to take the field still, but better quarterback is Fernando Mendoza the rest of the way. I think he's going to be more consistent. Dante Moore is why they will lose that game, I believe.
Yeah, I've said it all year, man. Oregon's defense is what will carry them. And if Oregon is going to beat Indiana, it's going to be with their defense.
Yep. And I just don't think you can make Mendoza have mistakes. And that running game is so good too. And so I think Indiana beats Oregon. And I think Ole Miss Miami's a toss-up.
Yeah, well, so while we're here and while you say that, Alston, earlier with a super chat, he's a lifelong Ole Miss fan and alum.
Congratulations, man. Enjoy it.
I know, and that's what he says. He says, this is the year I've been waiting for. Do you think they can beat Miami? They can definitely beat Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, they can win it all. There's not a dominant team. I mean, Indiana is really, really good, but any of these teams can win it all.
And, dude, I'm cheering my ass off for Ole Miss.
Oh, I think we all are.
I'm hotty-toddy, man. I hate this. The cheerleaders, they cut to them, they do that. I hate that thing.
Yeah.
but I am all in on Ole Miss.
Me too.
I am hotty-toddy, baby.
I am all in on Ole Miss. And I was all in on Miami the other night. In fact, I was sitting there hoping, man, after all this Big Ten talk, I was hoping it was going to be Miami when they beat Ohio State. I was hoping it was going to be Texas Tech over Oregon, Bama over Indiana, and we could just all sit back and smoke a fat cigar.
4th down.
Can you guys say without hesitation that Kirk Cignetti is a top 3 coach right now?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I had to answer quick or I'd have hesitation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I mean, I think he is. I mean, Kirby Smart is the only one that you can say just based on accomplishments.
So, Jim, if you had to do your top 3 and include Cignetti, how would you do it?
I mean, he never ranks high in this stuff, but Dan Lanning's pretty good.
He is.
He's 48-7 now.
I mean, because I think Ryan Day is so complicated. He's won a national championship. God, I don't know, man. Because I was gonna say
he's won 89% of his games.
I know. I was gonna say Kirby, Cignetti, and Lanning, but it may be Kirby, Cignetti, and Day, or maybe Kirby, Day, Cignetti.
I think 1 and 2 is easy. I think Kirby and Cignetti are easy. 1 and 2.
Day's won a national championship in 80% of his games.
I know.
Yeah,
I think 1 and 2 is easy.
I've got Lanning 5, Day 4, Cignetti 3, Kirby 2, Golding 1. He's never lost. He's never lost. Give me Pete Golding for president.
Nothing but playoff wins.
I had an Alabama fan send me this, speaking of the coaching. What if I told you in 2022, after Alabama just got beat by LSU, our defensive coordinator was a head coach and had a legit shot at the national championship, and Bama just got routed by the Indiana Hoosiers in the Rose Bowl in the college football playoffs?
I know, it makes no sense.
It's impossible.
There are, and listen, I am a Kalen DeBoer guy. I'm right beside LT, and I will. LT can be on that door off the Titanic, and he can watch me drop to the bottom. I'm on Kalen DeBoer's bandwagon. I'm there with LT.
I'll stick with it, man. I think they got to get a little tougher, but he's definitely a top 5 coach.
And listen, I'm right there. Kalen DeBoer is, in this day and age of college football, as long as you keep Courtney Morgan too, that's a dynamic duo. I'm all in on those guys, and it's tough to do what you're doing at the level they're doing it. And I like where they're going. That being said, there are some people who are watching or listening to us right now who cussed Pete Golding when he was the defensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa, who would rather have him as the head coach right now than Kalen DeBoer. You think that's true or not true?
It's probably true.
Probably true, but that is such a neat.
Well, just because they like the personality of Pete Golding too, though.
Yeah. That's right, and they think, okay, he's going to value this and this because he coached with Saban, and I may be wrong when it's all said and done, but Kalen DeBoer is a better coach than Pete Golding is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm with you on this. Now Pete's got to go a little.
Now I'd rather have a beer with Pete. Back to his comments.
But it was a. I mean, there was even some of that yesterday. Alabama could have had Pete Golding. Why don't they get Pete Golding?
Oh, wow.
Alabama could have had Kurt Cignetti. I mean,
you can't say that out loud.
Yeah, if Nick Saban had made Kurt Cignetti offensive coordinator, Cignetti never leaves and goes to what was it, IUPUI or wherever he went?
Ooey Pooey, IUPUI. Yep.
Yeah, whichever school it was he went to. I
D2.
mean, if he had been an offensive coordinator, he would have stayed, and then you never know. He might be Nick Saban's ultimate replacement. So, I mean, you can't play that game. I mean, heck, if Dan Lanning had ever been defensive coordinator, he might be the head coach at Alabama. I don't know.
Hey, look, Saban was smart because Cignetti, knowing him and his personality, if he had become Alabama's offensive coordinator, he would have ended up being Auburn's head coach and would have been a thorn in Saban's side for years.
I was talking to a guy tailgate yesterday, an Alabama guy, and he was a freshman Saban's first year, and we were talking about, and he's from Los Angeles, and we were talking about the influx of all of the out-of-state and Nick Saban and, the impact on Tuscaloosa and Alabama. Cignetti's already having this impact on Indiana. Now, a couple of things I've learned this week. Largest alumni base in all of America, living alums, is Indiana, 800,000 plus. But I was talking to a former Indiana player, and he said that year one, Cignetti sent all students an email and said, please, can you give me 4 quarters? Because all the students were leaving at halftime to all the games and going to tailgate and party. And he showed me like scenes on his phone from 2023 Indiana games to this year. And he's like, people just don't leave the games now.
Well, and Jim, I think, and it's something I was going to bring up today, is just the hunger of fan bases that haven't had the success like Alabama and Georgia have. If you were in the Rose Bowl yesterday, it was an Indiana home game by far and away. Now, it didn't impact the game because that's not a particularly loud venue. but it was an Indiana home game as far as the breakout of the crowd. Very easy. And watching last night, it seemed the same, did it not, for Ole Miss? It seemed like that game was being played in Oxford. Ole Miss had a decided advantage in that crowd last night.
Kirby even referenced it in postgame. It was like this was like an SEC road game.
Yeah, and so you get success, and Nick Saban, he preached against this all the time. Success breeds contentment. You get success, and all of a sudden the fans are like, I don't have to go to the Rose Bowl. I'll wait and see if we go play for the championship. I don't have to go to the Sugar Bowl. I'll wait and see if we play down in Miami. And all of a sudden, you're sitting at home. And those hungry fan bases, they're still out there buying tickets.
Listen, I can't point a finger. You guys are in California, and I'm sitting right here in Birmingham, Alabama. In 2009, 10, and 11, that would have never happened.
Ole Miss fans, are they going to Glendale?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet you they are. This is once in a lifetime for them, they think.
Yeah. Why not? Keep going. I'd ride this one until the wheels came off. That's our 4 downs today, being brought to you in part by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. LT, tell us about Michelson.
205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, the first to perform the laser procedure in the state of Alabama way back in 1995. I got the procedure done in 2003. Still have the 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Very important. Make sure you mention the next round. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with that hassle-free consultation. For more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Here's Kirby Smart on the loss to Ole Miss, his program, his fan base, the way it played out at the Sugar Bowl last night.
Great crowd out there today. Probably more partisan Ole Miss than ours, but it felt like you were on a road game with their atmosphere, and they had momentum a lot. It was a back-and-forth game. It's an incredible college football game. It's what the CFP was built for, to have battles like that. And that was basically every conference game we had this year. I felt like every game was like that one, back, forth, plays being made all over. And a lot of credit goes to Ole Miss. The defensive improvements they made, they played much better and tougher and more physical on defense, created some problems for us. And their quarterback is just incredible. I mean, he does an unbelievable job of not giving up sacks and making plays with his legs. And they made more plays than we did. And I got to be honest, that's part of football. They made more and out-executed us, out-coached us, outplayed us. But I enjoyed that game and that atmosphere. I am proud of our team. I'm sick that we lost. And there's things I would love to go back and do differently, but I just so proud of the way our guys competed when down 10 and just didn't finish it.
See, and Kalen DeBoer said sort of the same thing, too. Hate that we lost, but I'm proud of my team. There's Kirby Smart, guy that's won championships. Hate that we lost, but I'm proud of our team, of what we accomplished this year and what we were able to do. I'm okay with that. But the reality of the changing of our sport, for the first time since we've gone to a playoff, this is the first time the Final Four doesn't have Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, or Clemson. Go back to 2014 when we started the 4-team playoff. Every year there's been either Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, and Clemson. For the first time, there's no Ohio State, no Georgia, no Alabama, no Clemson. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
And yeah, it is. I mean, and I think, and look, I know Alabama fans don't want to hear this because we're doing a show the day after you just had one of the most embarrassing losses in school history that knocked you out of the college football playoffs. This is healthy for the sport, though. The fact that our Final Four includes Miami, Ole Miss, Indiana, and Oregon is healthy for the sport of college football. It's not just 3 or 4 teams running it. There is now more access to the championship, more access than we've ever had. And it has shown that if teams are willing to commit in NIL and in facilities and in coaching and in all of that, there's a path for you to win a championship. And I think that is healthy for the sport. I know if you're an Alabama fan, you want your team to dominate. I don't blame you. That's the way you ought to live. But if you're just looking for the health of the sport, this Final Four, I think, shows that college football's healthy.
Yeah, I love it. Again, like the money is getting NFL-like. This whole parity is getting NFL-like. And just because one team's good in the transfer portal one year doesn't mean they will be the next year. I mean, I truly believe we're going to have another 1 or 2 teams next year in the college football playoff where you're like, damn, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I I want you to listen to Pete Golding here. He gets asked about the trend of teams that haven't won big postseason games. Here's cut 14.
You're now capping a weekend where a lot of recent national title winners in this sport have fallen to teams that haven't won it all in quite a while. With all you've been through in the last few weeks, what do you think it takes for a team to succeed at this kind of strange moment in college football in 2026?
I think you got to have the right guys. And what I mean by that, I think they got to be tough. I think they got to be competitive. I think they got to love football. And I think you got a lot of guys on other teams that don't love football. There's one thing about this group, they love football. They love competing, they like practicing, they like preparing, and they like playing. And I think at this point in the year, you better have a group of guys that still wants to play. Because every time you go out there and you spot the ball, you're playing for another opportunity to play. And these guys aren't tired of playing, and it's fun watching them.
And Brown, you were there in that post-game locker room with Alabama. It was different when I saw them in Norman. They were limping, but they were limping after a win. People don't realize how beat up these guys are at this point in the year. When you see it as you saw it up close and personal, add a broken rib to whatever else Ty Simpson had going on. Josh Cuevas, who was a late add to the injury report right before the kick because he was suffering from back spasms to go with his fractured foot. I think it'll come out that Germ played the back half of this year with a torn meniscus in his knee. There will be a ton of these injuries. You see it at the end of this campaign. It just hits differently right now. You guys reference it all the time. It's very NFL-like, and that's what these bodies are too by the time you get to this point.
Yeah, and you can't talk about this Alabama team not having heart as a whole, because a lot of those guys, as you're talking about, like Cuevas playing through a lot of pain, Ty Simpson playing through a lot of pain, Jeremy Bernard playing through a lot of this year with pain. There were people that were saying LT Overton's career was over.
That's right.
That he may never play football again, and that dude was out there playing last night. I mean, that was a guy that, without saying too much about his condition, which is not our place to do, that's a guy that I think was going to doctors and team physicians and people around the program campaigning to play. Find me a way I can get back on the field and deal with what I'm dealing with.
That's right.
And
he may have had to sign some paperwork even to get back out there.
I mean,
that's where the discussion was at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll know that whole story. I don't know, but I do know this. LT Overton was doing everything he could to get back on that field with the condition that he is facing right now.
Yeah.
And that speaks highly of his desire to want to play the game.
Kevin Riley trying to go back after a broken jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole list of guys. Here's Josh Cuevas on that message in the locker room talking to Brown and Brooks after the game.
Just keep your head up. I mean, we know this season didn't end up how we wanted it to, because ultimately the goal is the national championship. We just came up short. But all I can do as an older guy is just kind of tell the younger guys, remember this feeling, just kind of go into next season. And I personally believe I left this program better than I found it. And that was my goal at the end of the season, whether we won a national championship or not. Because I know I have a bunch of younger guys in my room, and I know people look up to me. So I know, people got to keep their heads up. And that was basically kind of like the message.
I mean, there's some dogs on this team that won't be remembered, LT and Brownie, because that's just the program Alabama is. There's so many national champions and SEC champions. But Josh Cuevas and Deontay Lawson, Jerm Bernard. I mean, you had some guys on this team that won't be remembered with the greats of Alabama, not because of the way they played, but because the team didn't accomplish what those other teams did.
Yeah, they were showing in the Rose Bowl, and I don't know if you noticed this, Brown, but like famous alums from both Indiana and Alabama.
Yeah.
And I looked at Maddie and I was like, Alabama doesn't have a lot of famous alums, to be honest with you. Like they don't have a guy that created Wikipedia.
Yeah. Unless you want to do the NFL.
Yeah, and that's what she was like, well, why don't they do the NFL? And I was like, well, they can't. I mean, there's like 50 or 60 of these guys.
I don't know how you narrow it down.
Yeah, like
it
would be insane. Like they would never stop. So they can't do the NFL.
Yeah, but I found out that the president of Ireland is an alum of Indiana. He was one of their famous alums. But you're right. I mean, they don't do the NFL guys because where do you start and where do you stop if you do famous Alabama alums of the NFL, Dunaway?
Hey, another sidebar to that. I don't know if you noticed this, Dunaway. One of the funniest things, I remember last time I was here, I guess 2 years ago, they got a lot of the Michigan and Alabama players to try to pronounce the different signs, street signs around Los Angeles,
Yes.
and they butchered the hell out of them. Yesterday, they did official calls. Like, hand on top of the head.
What are they signaling?
Yeah, what are they signaling? These guys, half of them didn't know anything. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is what you do for a living. How do you not know what the official signals are?
And it was just stuff like, like that or,
or delay a game.
Or, or the illegal forward pass or whatever it was. And they're like, don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, Elijah Surratt was awful, and he admitted on the screen, it's like, man, I don't know any of this stuff.
I don't know any of these.
Yeah. Like you never watch the games when you're not playing?
I guess. I don't know.
All right. We got trash and some final thoughts coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you, LT, by our friends at Crane U, an opportunity for you maybe to explore a different career. Hey, and you don't have to go on campus at Crane U. They'll come to you.
They sure will. If you want to use your own equipment, the team at Crane U will come to you on site, on location, training offered nationwide. Get the Crane training you need today. If you're looking for a new career or need further training to advance your current one, our friends at Crane U offer comprehensive, state-of-the-art, fully stocked training facilities for your mobile cranes, overhead lifts, or forklift training. Make your job easier, your job site safer. Crane U also offers certification, safety inspections to ensure the safest environment possible. Classes are available monthly, so call or visit our friends at Crane U. Call 855-CRANE-U. Tell Nicole and Francis and everybody there. Next Round sent you 10% off right there. For more information, craneu.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
We interrupt this program for breaking news from the gators of the litigation situation. Insurance companies have a playbook. I repeat, insurance companies have a playbook. Deny, delay, defend. They know which law firms will fold and settle cheap. They are not on your side. That's corporate greed at work. At Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys, we fight back. We have the resource, the muscle, and the will to take them on. And you don't pay a dime unless we win. They fight dirty. We fight hard. Call 659-777-7777 or hit up alexwins.law.
Physical office location, Birmingham.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well done service.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Hey, Greg from Pell City has a great deal happening right now. Our buddy Greg and his wife Andrea and the wonderful company that is Storm Restoration Roofing, they've got this soft wash that they can do on your roof to make the shingles and the roofing look better. Maybe it's not time to replace your roof yet, but it's got some staining, and you don't even have to live under trees to get that staining. Just the sun in the south can do that. Their soft wash can actually remove that staining and make your house look newer, better, make your roof look better, really make your house stand out in the neighborhood, and maybe extend the life of that roof a little bit longer. Find out more by calling 205-542-3531, and he's got all the other stuff that he's had for years and years, over 20 years locally owned, stormrestorationroofing.com, stormrestorationroofing.com. It starts with a free no-cost roof inspection. He'll get up there and tell you if you got any problems, if you need a new roof, if you got 5 more years left on your roof, whatever you need. He'll get up there and let you know. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. There's nobody like him. Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531 or stormrestorationroofing.com. Trash in just a second. Another very popular discussion is Ty Simpson. NFL draft or not, he's going to have to make that decision. If you were advising Ty Simpson, put your name in the draft or come back to Alabama for another year, or I guess you could go to another college for another year. We'll just put it this way, college or NFL for Ty Simpson next year. What would you do, LTU first?
The complication is it is such a light quarterback draft this year.
I know.
I mean, Mendoza's there. Dante Moore's going to be there. Both of those guys will be probably 1 and 2. After that, Ty Simpson could realistically be the third quarterback coming off the board in the first round because we know everybody reaches for a quarterback. I think 100% he needs to come back as far as like his skill set to develop more and more. And a lot of this could be the injury that we talked about, the bursa sack. And had somebody text me and they had a similar situation. They were like, had zero strength in my arm, couldn't even lift because of the shoulder.
If he can't get the year back, what do you think Trinidad Chambliss draft prospect is? I mean, it's so complicated, Jim, because you haven't seen the guy play. I mean, they've only really got 6 games of him. I know you got his Ferris State tape, but 6 games against the SEC, 7, 8, 9, whatever it is, games against the SEC.
Yeah, but he seems to do all the things you need to do.
I know. I really like him. If I'm Ty Simpson, I probably come back. I think if he came back and had a good year, he could play himself into the number 1 overall pick if that's what you want to do. That's not always the best deal, by the way, because who's going to end up with the number 1 overall? Is it going to be the Jets?
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets, Giants are in the conversation. Saints are in the conversation.
Yeah.
As far as needing quarterbacks early on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shuck has played pretty well for the Saints, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they'll
draft.
If he can stay healthy, yeah, that's their guy.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Mendoza, you're looking at being a Jets quarterback, and I mean, that's a bad place to be, honestly. Who has succeeded as the Jets quarterback? So, it's not always a great deal to be the number 1 overall pick. If you want to play in the NFL, Ty Simpson's not in the worst spot. If he can go mid to late first round, you're going to get on a much better franchise.
Give me cut number 7, guys, behind the glass. Here's Brownie talking with Austin Mack afterwards. Mack had some moments when he came in. Always looks good in practice. Has never really gotten a lot of seat time. Here's Brownie talking to Austin Mack including about whether he'll be back at Alabama.
To yourself about your ability.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, I've had the confidence in myself my whole life, and then kind of just, I mean, obviously playing on a stage like this in the Rose Bowl against the #1 team in the nation, and being able to move your offense down the field definitely is going to give you some confidence. But I feel like I mean, even though I played somewhat well, I mean, there's so much more I got to improve on if I ever want to be the kind of player I want to be.
Do you anticipate it being in Alabama?
I mean, as of right now, yes. I mean, I'm kind of being where my feet are at. I mean, I just played in the Rose Bowl game, so I'm kind of just still digesting that and figuring it out. So I mean, I'm excited for my future. Yeah.
I'm excited for my future. Yeah. I would imagine Ty Simpson coming back or not coming back impacts that quite a bit, right?
Yeah, not just him, Keelan Russell too.
Yeah, I thought Austin Mack looked really good, especially that first possession.
Well, that first possession, it was just a stark difference in his ability to move the ball down the field that Ty Simpson no longer has, obviously because of injury.
Yeah, but I mean, even for his size at 6'6" with those 18 size shoes, I mean, he was moving around well. I think Austin Mack could be a really good quarterback depending on the situation. Real quick, just clean up Deadwood. The Raiders will have the first.
Okay, Raiders. So that's another bad.
No, but that actually wouldn't be bad to go to with the venue and
well, they just suck.
Be better than the Jets.
Yeah, but they're in need of a quarterback, so they're probably not gonna trade out of that position. All right, final thoughts after we do trash, brought to you today by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They've got an emergency hotline, so easy to call them up, LT.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, cooling, any of those issues arise in your home or business. They are ready to serve you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus. What you doing, Terry?
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I got a text a minute ago. Are you doing a dry January?
Are you?
I had not planned on it.
It's day 2.
I know. But what I will do is the final game the Rams play this year, then I will go a month after that.
You had a marg last night, so no, you're not doing a dry January.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, whatever the Rams final game they play this year, I'll go a month at least.
Okay.
After that.
All right. So that'll be your dry month.
Yeah, I made it 41 days last year, believe it or not. But anyway, I will have a delicious Bud Light here in a little bit. Maybe for brunch today. Who knows?
There you go.
Disney World Hollywood studio employee was struck by a prop boulder during a showing of the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular stage show after the 400-pound rubber sphere became displaced from its track.
Oh, wow.
Now, in a video of the accident shared on social media, the boulder bounces off its designated path and onto the stage. Staff member rushes in to stop the boulder before it makes contact with the audience, but the impact of the prop, boom.
Wow.
My gosh.
But he
is way too strong, knocks him over. Another cast member quickly rushes in to help before the video cuts off. Quote, "We're focused on supporting our cast member who is recovering. Safety is at the heart of what we do, and that element of the show will be modified as our safety team completes a review of what happened." Now, the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is part of the Discovery Disney event series, which includes educational backstage tours and sessions just for participants on the program to learn more about how the parks and resort create magic for guests. This, according to the Disney Park blog.
Okay, it says a 400-pound ball falls and it's bouncing like a rubber ball.
That ain't 400 pounds.
That can't be 400 pounds or it would have smushed him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, when I actually looked over at Lance's screen and saw the headline he was about to read. I've been to this show. I've been to this show at Hollywood Studios at Disney, and the ball obviously is supposed to roll all the way down that track. And when they're showing how stunts work and the fact, that what you think you see is not always what you see. I just assumed that was like a foam ball of some sort, Jim, and it might weigh, 30 pounds.
I mean, that blonde would have gotten smoked in the first round or first row.
That's right. He literally is a hero. He goes and runs and saves it. I mean, because it's going to.
I bet that thing weighs, I don't know, 50, 75 pounds. I mean, just full of the air.
It can't be 400.
Yeah, there's no way it's 400 pounds. It literally would have killed him. But I mean, his head snaps. He's in concussion protocol.
But if he doesn't run and stop it, the people in the first two rows aren't going to really think they're in danger. They're going to think it's part of the show.
Exactly. Yeah, because the whole show is about, how the stunts is not a real boulder. It looks like a boulder. Here's how we make it look like a boulder.
Watch his head snap.
Oh, I know.
And
you think that guy's got the most job security anybody at Disney?
He's up there.
And the people in the crowd are sitting, so it could bounce and come
That's right. That's what's
going to
happen
instead
because
of hitting the side of the face.
That's exactly right. They're not even going to stand up, and some won't even put their hands up because they're going to be like, "Oh, this is really realistic."
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't have their phone out, Disney, you never hear about this.
You're right.
So a man from Florida has been accused of robbing a meat market wearing nothing but a face mask. Police arrived to...
Sir, you have plenty of meat.
BJ's Meat Market in Lake City.
No, that is not...
before 9 p.m. last Tuesday, following a report of a robbery. Store employees told authorities the suspect, later identified as 24-year-old Kobe Watkins, was, quote, nude except for covering over his face. This from the Lake City Police Department.
I've always, do you mind throwing this on the scale real quick? I've always wondered how much it weighed.
Sir, is this prime or Angus?
Yeah. Watkins also had a piece of cloth in his hand wrapped around what employees believe was a weapon, according to local outlet WCJB.
That's not a weapon, my friend.
Outlet said Watkins is accused of stealing more than $1,000 from a cash box in the store before he fled. Police reviewed surveillance video, searched the area, and found evidence, in quote, including clothing items and other property believed to be connected with the incident. So Watkins was quickly located, arrested. He was charged with robbery with a weapon, exposure of sexual organs, grand theft, and criminal mischief.
I'm going to have to let him off because the sign was confusing to him. He went in there thinking one thing could happen.
That's right. Don't put it on the side of the building if you don't want me to come in here.
Because my balls was
nobody was in the lobby if I didn't know where I was supposed to undress and walked in here to the market. But it literally says on the sign.
New York City teachers have found that scores of teenagers can't read traditional clocks after a cell phone ban in schools statewide because students figured the skill would be useless in the digital era, according to a report. So first cursive writing, and now traditional clocks.
I don't remember where I heard this, and it may be Tyler brought it up one day. Tyler, did you bring up the urban legend about why we no longer teach, or it's not really urban legend, it's a conspiracy theory of why we no longer teach cursive? Did you bring that up?
I don't know. It sounds like something I would say, but the real reason we don't use cursive anymore, the real reason cursive started was because you would use a quill and ink, and you wouldn't want to have to pick it up and put it down because then it would be messy. But that is completely outdated.
Yeah, there's this conspiracy theory that they don't teach cursive anymore, so that after all the generations that die off that know cursive, nobody can read the Constitution, so nobody knows what their protections are, so the government can take over.
You've got to have a signature, though, so how do you not know cursive?
I don't know, but I'm like, that is about the dumbest conspiracy theory I've ever heard.
Now, according to Maddie Morningweg, who teaches high school English in Manhattan, quote, the constant refrain is, "Miss, what time is it?" It's a source of frustration because everyone wants to know how many minutes are left in class. Finally got to the point where I started to say, where's the big hand and where's the little hand? Now, many tech-minded teens have no clue what time it is during the course of the school day because classrooms generally only have analog clocks on the wall, according to teachers. Boy, that is amazing. New York statewide smartphone ban went into effect September 4th for the 2025-2026 school year. And they're saying the biggest downside to this is students constantly asking what time it is.
Hey, would you still date Maddie if her last name was Maddie Morningweg? That's a unique name. Maddie Morningweg.
She's looking to get married at that point. Get rid of that name. That's Marty, man. Marty Morningweg. He's the old Vikings coach.
He was, yeah. No, he was the Lions.
Yeah. He's the guy that sold the Super Bowl tickets, right?
No, that was Mike Tyson. That was the Vikings.
That was the Vikings coach.
You're close on so many stories, Brownie.
California man says he has reached his breaking point after months of failed attempts to remove a massive bear living beneath his home. Altadena resident Kenneth Johnson is now threatening legal action after the California Department of Fish and Wildlife claiming negligence and emotional distress after the state allegedly stopped intervening in the situation involving a 550-pound bear occupying his crawl space. Now, Johnson believes the department has backed away from helping resolve the issue despite the bear being previously tagged and known to wildlife officials. Quote, "This has gone on long enough. It's something they should deal with. It's a tag bear. They've dealt with it before. They chose not to euthanize it, and now it's back, and it's just going to keep doing this." Now, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife disputed Johnson's claim, saying it has remained actively involved despite limited staffing.
Yeah, this is the view the SEC had in the 1970s right here. Nothing but the bear's ass.
How trashy is this old dude's property, though? He's got like a oscillating fan just laying out.
He can't clean it up. I mean, you can't go over there.
Who threw the oscillating fan over by the bear's house?
They probably tried to cut him up, get him out. I don't know. But there you go. Bear's just going to hang out, live there, I guess. That's all I got today.
That is trash. Brought to you today in part by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. How about some wonderful Southern fried chicken for lunch or dinner tonight? Brined overnight, juicy to the bone. It is fantastic food there. Great in-house made sides and dessert. Sterling loves to see you, loves to talk sports. Swing by there. Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com. The portal is open. Already 1,300 players have declared that they're going to enter the portal, so they're flying in right now. I can't keep up. Already 2 or 3 Georgia players. They hadn't even made it back from New Orleans yet. Haven't seen any Alabama news yet on who's hitting the portal. Obviously, you've seen 20-plus Auburn players hit the portal. Sources say former Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby has visits lined up to both Texas Tech and LSU. He's set to fly to visit Texas Tech today. So I guess Texas Tech's already back home because they're ready to welcome Sorsby to town, and he'll go to Baton Rouge after that. So that's Brendan Sorsby in the mix there at Texas Tech and LSU. Thoughts on that, guys?
I mentioned a couple of days ago, I've seen Sorsby at the back half of the first round of some of these mocks. A lot of this, again, based on how light the quarterback draft is going to be in the 2026 draft. But Sorsby's got a decision. Like, he's probably going to get paid $3 or $4 million.
He's at LSU, he will, if Kiffin really likes him.
Or Texas Tech. And if you, especially Texas Tech now in the market after seeing the way their offense played yesterday, I don't know, man. If I'm not guaranteed to come out in the first round, I'm playing for one of these teams for $3 or $4 million.
Hey, by the way,
and he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's a dual threat kind of guy.
This was a story we discussed a long time ago, but now that we're on the day, these teams that are playing in the bowl games today, Dunaway, are at a huge disadvantage. The day the portal opens and you're having to play a football game.
Yeah, you're Mississippi State.
That is not ideal.
You're playing in the Dukes Mayo tonight. Is 5-7 Mississippi State against Wake Forest, and would you rather be playing in that bowl game as a 5-7 Mississippi State add-on, or would you rather be working on the portal?
I'd rather be in Starkville with every man on the phone working on the portal and building my football team.
Yeah, because if I'm Jeff Lebby, I believe, hey, look, Indiana can do this. Why can't we?
Yeah. Yep. And I think they did take a step forward this year at Mississippi State.
They did. Mm-hmm. They did.
By the way, Chase Parnham pointing this out. Very unique situation here. Give me the largest stadium capacity left in the college football playoffs.
Is it Mercedes?
No. You mean of
the actual
schools.
on-campus stadium for the 4 teams that are left?
I think I know Hard Rock for Dolphins games is 68,000. I assume that's the same for Hurricane games.
I think it's Indiana or Ole Miss. It's either Indiana or Ole Miss.
Miami is second, 64,767 for Miami Hurricane games.
Yeah.
So it's Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is number 1, 68,251. Oregon is third, 60,129. And our number 1 team in the country, dominant Indiana, 56,223. Screaming Hoosiers. These are not.
You know what?
Not massive stadiums here, guys.
Nope.
What will be announced next is Indiana is planning on renovating the stadium with new suites.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cignetti's at least staying. He's committed.
Yeah, it's a good chance it'll be Kirk Cignetti Field at some point, right?
I would go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's the next round of the playoffs. We'll do it all again next week. Don't forget, tomorrow we got basketball starting in the SEC. Tuscaloosa has Kentucky and number 14 Alabama at 11 a.m. ESPN. Kentucky is completely healthy. Mo Diabate, part of that. He's averaging 12 and 6 as he comes back to play Alabama. Auburn's on the road at Georgia, 12 noon. Georgia's the ranked team. Auburn's unranked. Georgia's 23rd in the country. A little SEC basketball. We'll react to that and more playoffs on Monday. Until next time, safe travel, guys. God bless you. God bless America.